Well, hello. Early morning. Genshin. Why is my... Oh, this is not my chat. I was very confused for a second. I was like, my chat's going very fast. Oh, no, it's not. It's not my chat. I was accidentally looking at the chat of heathens. You know. This chat. That's the chat of heathens. Anyways, this is gonna okay. We know that'll be live when it murders our ears. Yeah. Hello. Anyways, I have not slept, which is, you know what? In some ways, I actually think it's beneficial because it means I can have my live stream today. Now, right here. Wonderful. And then I can sleep. And I can then wake up. And then I can make videos, hopefully plural, for the weekend. Although I failed to do plural videos for the weekend for a while now. Anyways, hi. Sleep deprived stream indeed. These are always sleep deprived streams, to be fair. They're just, this one in particular is just sleep deprived in the other direction. So, in the I've stayed up too long direction rather than the I didn't get enough sleep direction. I prefer the staying up too long direction more than the inverse direction, but it's the same thing at the end of the day. You're still waiting for Zenless 2.0. I mean, the update's out. I think at this point you just got a skill issue with your internet or your computer or something else. I don't know. Anyways, still waiting on this Pyro Traveler video. Me too. That guy needs to get off his ass. Anywho's, we're doing normal. I chose to start the stream 30 minutes ahead of time, by the way. So if you're a VOD watcher for some reason, because you're crazy, who does that? Well, guess what? Speed forward 30 minutes if you just want the reaction to this, not the chat, the stream. I love Capitano. Yep, that's definitely the surprise that's in store for us. Surely. How am I? One, I'm surprised I have this much resin. Two, how I have this much resin and it's the perfect awkward amount. Being like right, anyways. Whoa, why is that so green? Wait. Yeah, that is weirdly vibrant. What is happening? Is my... Okay, so I think I know what's happening. I think my display is in like weird HDR mode and the colors are wrong right now. This probably doesn't... This does not show up in your end. I'm like 99.9% sure. But then my colors are off a little bit right now. And I think the reason for this is quite simple, which is that I was playing with my Switch on HDR mode and displays are stupid. And I just switched the input and it's like, oh, you're still in HDR mode, but like I know my PC shouldn't be in HDR mode, so it's displaying colors. It's displaying colors differently. So, anyways, yeah. When are you gonna do an account fixing vid again? Soon, TM. That's all I can say. I don't know. Sorry. I'm getting to the point where I'm gonna abandon doing my normal ideas because my normal ideas, despite that being the content that I think is more valuable and more fun than logging onto someone's account and doing the same thing for the 800th time. Sorry, most of the account fixing videos are the same thing. They're just like, tell people to level up the valuable supports, use your resin in the efficient artifact domains, choose a smart stopping point, don't just go full all-in crowning immediately, balance your resources between multiple units. Like that's what account fixing videos. Anyways, sorry, this is sleep deprived brain speaking. I think they're valuable and I can make them entertaining, but I don't know. I'll soon TM. Soon TM. Anywho's what am I doing? That's a good question. I think I already finished Veresa. Yeah, I got enough for that. Okay. So I can send her pretty much whenever I feel like. Skirk. You mean Spurk? You mean Spork? You mean Quark? Anyways. I wouldn't say there's millions out there doing the same thing. I think there's not many people doing the same thing because it's kind of like really annoyingly time intensive to organize account fixing. And yeah, anyways. Yeah, hopefully we get a non-cry teaser. That would be nice. The expectation, of course, is the new characters, but then hopefully some new endgame combat content. That's the real reason I've chosen to stay up for this, is I want to see what they say. How do they, like, I am of the opinion that these things are just advertisements. 90% advertisement, 0.5% useful information, and 9.5% something else. So, we'll see. Anyways, also artifact loadouts. I still don't trust them because the dev discussion, first of all, is in the dev discussion, which means it's not going to be in the live stream other than like mentioned very briefly. But the dev discussion didn't actually show the loadouts. Like they used words like custom loadouts, but remember, guys, they also called this system a loadout system in the first place. If I recall, they called this system a loadout. I don't trust them. I just don't. Okay, I just don't. These ads are scaring me. Oh, do I have ads on? Okay, someone remind me to turn ads off when the live stream starts. If I forget, I apologize. It is 6:40 a.m. for me, but it is 4:40 a.m. for some Americans. America's a very big country. So, anyways, turn ad off. I said remind me when the live stream starts. If I forget then, because I don't want to have ads playing over the live stream. But ads playing now? What are we doing now? We're just yapping. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Deal with it. Sorry. You'll survive. Anyways. What are we doing? Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. I think I should just farm Leylands. That is the answer. Or, no. Let's just farm Leylands. It's the simple solution. Blap. Alright. The loadouts being per character. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. They didn't show any new interface. They showed this interface. They showed this interface. It didn't have an interface where it was like specifically choosing a specific goblet. Like, I think what their loadout system might be. I'm just saying I don't trust it because I think what this loadout system might be is this same ass system where you hit the button and it gives some automatic bullcrap. You hit generate, and then the difference is now we'll be able to save 2 of these, right? So you can tweak. You'll be able to tweak. This is my guess. So I only trust it. Yeah, I only trust it. Oops, I have an alarm going off. I only trust it when, you know, like what I think it is like when if you choose to, like, you know, say put Crimson here instead and then generate, right? Well, that's because they're equipped to dominate. I hate that too, but whatever. I don't trust it. I think it's loadouts, but it's loadouts for their automatic system. I think that's what this is, based on their verbiage. Everyone's excited that it's real loadouts. I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure, I'm sorry for being pessimistic, but like, they've done 500 different quality of life for artifact things. None of them were actual real loadouts. And that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be technically loadouts so they can continue to be arseholes. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. So, I don't know. I want them to prove me wrong. I really, really want them to prove me wrong. I want this to be actual loadouts where we can go into the godforsaken screen there and we can click specific artifacts and save it to a specific thing with a label where it's like, I'm trying to think of where let's, you know what, here, Rosaria I think is a good example where I can do this is, I mean, actually, you know, this is a good example where I can save an Instructor's Rosaria, I can save a Melt Rosaria build, I could save a Freeze Rosaria build, right? If I'm using an Escoffier team, if I'm doing like Xiangling, Bennett, Rosaria, Shenhe, and this is like a Rosaria support for Arlecchino, I believe is the main thing this is configured for. Like, there you go. 3 different loadouts. They only have 2 that you can save, but that 2 would be enough for most characters. Not really. I mean, there's a lot of characters that need like 7, but you know, when you really start digging in the weeds of things, to be completely honest. But yeah, anyways, I don't know. The fact that it's in the quick, the fact that they showed it in the quick configuration menu in particular makes me not trust it. I don't trust it. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it, and I can enter a UI where I specifically select specific artifacts of my choosing rather than automatic equip set. Anyways. KFC collab with Kave. Is that actually a thing? I didn't even hear about that. Okay. The ley lines. Teapot. Yeah, keep expectations low so you'll not be disappointed. Exactly. They should increase their resin cap from 200 to 240. I think they should just add the overflow system they have in their other games, but they refuse to add in Genshin for some godforsaken reason. I actually think from the Genshin developers' perspective, I don't understand what goes on the Genshin team, why they're so butthole about some things. But like not having an overflow system is one of those things where it's like, I genuinely think their intention with the 200 resin is that the overflow is the extra 20 because you generate 180 resin per day. So technically there is 20 overflow. Compared to Star Rail and Zenless and insert other gacha game here that has like, you know, a week or 2 of overflow. So anyways, that is not a thing I expect today, but you know what? I'd love to be surprised more often by MiHoYo. You know what we should do? We should do the ley lines I said I was going to do, but we should also go do my artifact run. I've been bad at doing that, and I should do it more. And do Fontaine ley lines. Why? Because I might need gears, or I might not. I don't actually know. I haven't checked. Anyways, yeah, we'll see. If you know what, just by the way, just because sometimes I think I glaze Zenless too much, I want to insult Zenless today. The Zenless devs, I think, did a stupid, in my opinion. They made the map UI whatever is a side grade to me. That's not my complaint. My complaint is the fact that Zenless, up until yesterday night, up until a few hours ago, the you know, like the buttons up here, right? The mobile game interface BS. Like, this is something I really wish I could dismiss in Genshin, right? I do not need these icons here all the time. That this is mobile game baloney. I understand why they need to exist on mobile. I would like an option for them not to exist on PC. Okay? Zenless had that. Zenless, you pressed tab and it collapsed them. And there's like a nice little animation. You press tab and it opens them up and it closes them. Cool. Nice. We like that. Get the ugly UI out of my face when I don't need it, right? Wonderful. They removed that. You now just have permanent ass. It's even worse than Genshin because they're bigger. They take up like this much of the fucking screen. It's so ass. It drives me insane, actually. It's like Genshin, I can tune them out because they're like small enough and in the top right. Like Zenless now is like, they're just obnoxious. They're obnoxious, and there's a little like animation, I think, that like To be clear, Zenless, I would not be surprised if they give an option to toggle again, because I suspect there are a contingent of people like me that are annoyed at that. But it's awful. It's extremely distracting. It just makes me annoyed. They actively made their UI worse in trying to address UI complaints, and all I can guess is that they listened to a vocal minority, because they barely even, in my opinion, improved problems with the UI, and all the additional things they added, in some ways, in my opinion, actually make the UI a bit more convoluted and more daunting to get used to and learn, which I think was its actual core problem, is that it wasn't super easy to learn. But anyways, as I get a Zenless ad. To be clear, I think everything else in Zenless 2.0 is great. But that UI thing really annoyed me. I'm gonna keep on being annoyed by it. And it's like, I was planning on making a ZZZ, like, hey, 1 year later Zenless stream. Not stream, sorry, video. Where I'm like, hey, wow, this is like the first time a gacha game has not made me like actively sick of playing it in a year or in less than a year, sorry. Like, I haven't actively felt burnout in the same way I have for most other gacha games. Crazy. Except now I'm gonna have to have a part in that video complaining about stupid things like that. Anyways. Everything else is good in Zenless 2.0, as far as I can tell. Just the nonsense, terrible UI change. Oh, by the way, and on top of this, Zenless added a mini-map. And you might be like, okay, mini-maps are useful. And like, yes, if the video game has things that the player needs to refer to a mini-map for navigation for, like Genshin, there's like things like, hey, if someone's in my party that, I don't know, I don't actually know who's doing this, but someone's in my party that's not labeling things on the map for me. I can see what direction to head for ley lines. I can see when Oculus pop up. The mini-map is useful in Genshin. I appreciate it as a feature. It makes sense. In Zenless, there's no f***ing reason for it to exist. Okay, apparently new hollow exploration. Then how about the mini-map exists in the new hollows and not outside of that? It angers me that it's just omnipresent and it can't be toggled off, and I can't toggle off the other UI that I used to be able to toggle. Sorry, okay, there you go. There's my Zenless anger. I'm done. Checking out Skirk's artifacts yesterday, said something about elemental energy, not elemental mastery. Yes. If anyone said elemental mastery, they either were just slipping up. Like, if I said that, it was just a Freudian slip. Ish what it is. Or someone else was slipping up, or they were misinformed. So, yes. Skirk has no energy, which means the artifact set works on her. You think they're going to say that the... I bet you they'll mention the artifact set, because they'll be like, oh, that's why they'll have some like thing from the voice actor be like, oh, so that's why they added this weird artifact set in the previous Genshin Impact version. And then the, you know, whatever. Anyways, I feel like I already used my 3 resin. Nope, I lied. Okay, that's fine. Should I go? Yeah, here, we'll go over. May as well. I'm here, and this will get me over 7 million more. Oh, that's funny. All right. We'll spend our last 20 resin. Here. All right. Oh yeah, for anyone that cares, I did pull. I think I did this on Astra's banner technically, but I wanted a copy of Panda, because of course, how could I not try to get a copy of the Panda? So I did a 10 pull, And of course, the game chose to troll me, and I had like 30 pity, and I really would have preferred not to lose my pity, and get a character I didn't necessarily want. I think I did this on Astra because my logic was I am likely... I felt like I was not going to get value out of Yixuan long term. Even if she would be more interesting than an Astra duplicate. Astra M1. C1 equivalent for those that don't know. Like a strong... Like, Astra, I would get use out of the thing. Do I need Astra to be stronger? No. But, like, you know. Anyways, the game trolled me, of course. It gave me an early. But... You know my luck in Zenless. I lost at 50-50, which is actually wonderful. It's very good that I lost at 50-50. That gives me a guarantee for the best character in the patch, Jafufu. And let's go get artifacts. And yeah, I got a guarantee for Jafufu. What a world. Also means I can probably justify getting her engine. Probably, but gotta wait to see. You know what? No, get out of here. I hate your bike. Oh, I did get Panda, yes, which is so it was a good pull overall. And it was Kaleda, by the way, I lost to, who was the only standard banner unit I didn't have. So losing to Kaleda, cool, all around, good thing, good circumstance. Where are you? Where's the best overworld unit in the game? There you are. Hello.
Are we going on a trip?
Yep. She really is like the best overworld unit in the game. The versatility for zoom in is real good. Anyways, I would have laughed if it was Rena. I would have been annoyed if it was Rena, but yep. Anyways, finally have all standard banner characters in the game. Kaleda Wenjin or Brimstone? If you are using Lycon, probably Kaleda Wenjin, assuming you don't have it already. If you're using an attack, but if you're regularly using a DPS, where Brimstone is one of the most compelling options on them, then probably Brimstone, because Steam Oven is pretty good, and you're likely to see more of an experience difference in amplifying your attack unit that can use Brimstone more than you would be likely to see. Hello. More than you'd be likely to see an improvement from Kaleda's engine. I think it is an improvement, but, you know. Kaleda's engine for lighter? Yeah, exactly. So a case like that makes sense. It's funny how I can definitely notice she's slower, by the way, because she has her signature weapon on right now. And I'm like, I want to put her back on Lost Prayers because she's slightly slower, and I notice it. Like, she jumps slightly less far, too. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. It's not like it's that much of a time save. But at the same time, I can tell she does not have Lost Prayers on. She's moving slower. It's funny, how's, like, Varessa's weapon is really strong. It's a very significant damage upgrade for her. But, like, I don't care. I want the movement speed. You done goofed, Mahoyo. I like the movement speed weapon more. Anyways, oh yeah, that's yeah. That's fine. I'll just leave her. Perfect. Yeah, it's a perfectly ideal build. We'll leave it like that. Why? Look at that movement speed. I can feel it immediately. Anyways, over 20%. Yeah, I believe it's 20. I think it's over. I don't remember what it is. But yeah, I think it's over 20% from Lost Prayers. It's like 40% from the free-to-play weapon or something stupid. It's 30 or 40% over Widzith, right? And that was like, I think it's like 30% over Widzith, being generous to assuming like which buffs you get from Widzith, like one of the two that are ideal for Varessa. And on average, it's more like 40% over Widzith, and it's similar for the free-to-play Graptival. Like Varessa's weapon is a stupid increase, and it's kind of not chill. Also, this weapon is just like, in my opinion, kind of straight up the best generic stat stick catalyst they've given, because 674 base attack, 44.1 crit damage, and 28% attack is just kind of really good. Like I'm gonna have to do a testing. I'm gonna probably make a Yai. Like if my hope for 2 videos this week is to get out. By the way, we have 4 minutes. Okay, just making sure I don't yap too long. Here, let me turn off ads while I'm at it. Actually, while I'm doing this yap. But the what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I'm planning on making hopefully a Yai video this weekend and a video about the characters on Chronicle Banner, which includes Yai. So technically Yai will be featured twice. But in the Yai video specifically, one thing I'm going to test, and I'm fairly confident that the answer is going to be that this weapon is better for Yai in many situations, particularly the ones that I use Yai in. I am confident it's going to be better, and I think it's going to be nearly equivalent and better in some ways, even for like normal off-field Yai. Like that's to illustrate the value of like this 28% attack with 674 base attack. To be clear, Yai in aggravate context, that shouldn't be the case because damage bonus goes a little bit further in aggravate. But I think Yai actually shines best in non-aggravate context in the current state of the game. So, yup. That means I think Varessa's weapon is better for her, even when you're not plunging. Is my overall vibe. But anyways, here, let's turn off ads temporarily. Bam, you're welcome. No ads. If you get ads, it's not my fault because I just turned them off. And hopefully I remember it. If someone can remind me to turn them back on after the live stream is done, I would appreciate that as well. But anyways, substat is useless unless in plunge teams. No, attack is increased by 28%. There's no trigger condition for this. Trigger conditions have when you do this, then this. That's everything after the when, and then blah 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 blah. All the crit damage is with plunge. The attack is just there. 28% attack for free is a freaking lot. So, anyways, I would show it right now if the live stream were starting in like literally 2 minutes. Going on here. So I should probably, oh well, we're gonna have to figure out the formatting on the fly. Whatever. I'll get rid of these fools, don't worry.
My parents always say
Spork is everything.
No matter how busy life gets, you should always sit down and enjoy a proper meal when you get hungry.
I am not hyped for this live stream. Why are you here? I mean, that's slightly sarcastic. I'm not that hyped either. But I'm just not a hypey boy in general. I'm a terrible existence. I'm a negative Nelly. I hate reality. I would press the red button and destroy Tavat or the real world without a question. I can't even speak. I don't know why my brain died there. Anyways, codes got leaked. Yeah, they did indeed. Well, 2 of them did for some reason. I think the 3rd one did not. But anyways, it's called being jaded, yeah, pretty much. But I don't know. I just like as far as getting hyped for media goes, I just know like my experience is I generally speaking enjoy media when I go in with a more neutral perspective. When I go in knowing little, I tend to enjoy pieces of media more, right? When I set no expectations for myself, I enjoy it more. If I listen to the advertising and get hyped up, I generally dislike things more. That's my overall experience. You could call that being jaded. I just call that I tend to find I tend to just enjoy that way of oh my god. Okay, I just made it louder. Okay, mute my game. I have to adjust things on the fly, but a little bit. Anyways. Don't remember what I was saying. Anyways, I don't feel I'm jaded when it comes to media hyping. It's just what I've learned for me to enjoy media more, right? Hence part of my perspective that these are just advertisements, right? But it's still good to see what the company itself says about their own product, because it's something that lets you interpret your experience with the product, right? Because they'll have a presentation for it. They expect you to have this kind of experience, and you can evaluate around that as a framework, right? So, and also see how different people respond to how they present it. But yeah, anywho's. Anything involving Dane is useful for a traveler's journey. Yeah. Is a Dane's voice actor going to be here? You think that'd be nice? Have they ever been part of these streams? Did you turn off ads? I did. So if you got an ad, it's not my fault. I did turn them off. YouTube is now yelling at me saying, "Hey, you should insert ads." No, we will hopefully remember to turn ads back on after the stream. Anyways, let's go. Yep, gotta turn it louder. Give me a second. Get out of here. Is that formatted right? Not really. Yeah, let me get rid of Bongo Cat. Also, captions. Wait, the captions are on. They're just not doing anything. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Never mind. They weren't on. I lied. Spork. Oh, should I turn off my whatever? Doesn't matter. Maybe not. Disasters inevitable. Yeah, I'm gonna turn off my chat. Yeah. If you're a VOD watcher, you can turn on the chat replay if you need it. Spork. I mean Scork. I mean Squirk. I mean Dirk. I can move the captions? Oh my god, I can. I didn't know you could do that. Dahlia? What we're all actually here for. Let's go. Let me get you hyped. This is the third coming of Bennett. But Hydro is power creeping Farina. Okay, now I gotta put things back. That's my prediction for Dahlia. It's definitely correct. Put the captions back. Okay. Oni-chan. Skirk. Why is the UI permanently up, by the way? There we go. It's so over dramatic, by the way. I understand it's like part of the quest line with the twin and whatever melodramaticness, but are we actually gonna get to see the twin and they're not gonna erase the memories this time? That would be nice. We will begin anew at the end of your journey. All right. Hopefully that the twins get to meet each other without their memory being erased in some arbitrary form again. But yeah, it does feel different. I think it's probably a good thing. It's probably going to be an enjoyable quest. I don't know. I tend to enjoy their standalone quests more. The Dane's Life quests though tend to be fairly hit or miss for me. But you know. Anyways, Master Spork 0618. That is good art. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it looks like a little over dramatic, I would say, but maybe that whole plot line needs some drama, right? So, you redeemed this code yesterday? Yep, you did, because it was live stream codes that got sent out early for some reason.
Welcome to the Genshin Impact version 5.7 special program. I am Aileen Mythen, the voice of Dahlia, and hosting with me today we have...
Hey everyone, I'm Kat Pratano, rhymes with Capitano, the voice of Child's Master, Skirk.
And I'm Katiana
Okay.
Sarkisian, the
Was
voice
that
of
intentional on their part?
herself, Malika.
Yeah, well,
'Cause,
I've
like-
seen that trailer. This version seems absolutely
Also,
stacked. We're getting
I-
the next installment of the Twins quest in this version.
Voice actors are voice actors.
Yippee! And let's not forget,
That is not what my brain thought Skirk would sound like, but she might sound completely different. That I don't know how good this voice actor is. I know it's a script, but I'm just saying referencing Capitano is like a big troll. Like, what-
Yeah, I
See, the chat went crazy.
pretty
Yeah,
sure
they
that
did.
interaction left us all
Capitano,
with far more
Capitano, yeah, yeah.
questions than answers.
Yeah, I mean, she did give us a few clues about herself, though. Remember? In the Primordial Sea at the end of the Fontaine Archon quest?
Right.
Mhm.
Something about the remains of a descender, the foul, the visionary.
Mm.
I
They're
feel
mocking
like I
us.
still
I mean,
don't know what any of it means,
I'm
though.
willing to bet he will be playable.
I
Oh, by
mean,
the
that's
way,
fair.
they showed
So
this
far,
clip.
all we know about her past
I
is
swear to
that she
God,
trained under
they
the foul
embiggened the boobs.
Serology.
So,
Like-
Serology isn't just some ordinary
I,
mentor.
Oh,
I,
definitely not.
she
Things
has,
like
I think,
revealed that
smaller boobs there
serology
than
is one of the
she has in her
5
actual
spheres of
model.
gonorrhea,
That
and someone who possesses all-encompassing power. Imagine training under someone like that.
I could be
Walk in the
wrong.
park, let me
Like,
tell ya.
seems like that
Well,
was the
maybe
case,
that
but
explains how aloof and
also, you know what? I just remembered her leg thing,
Seriously, though,
the
her
leg
demeanor is stone
star
cold
thing.
in a
I
way
don't know if that's actually still a
almost
thing or not.
otherworldly
but-
or something.
Anyways.
Yeah, it's kind of cold as ice, right?
We'll see what it looks like in game.
But I mean, you know, the important thing is.
Are we complaining?
this
I
time,
am.
We should be able to get some answers, right?
Oh, I hope so. Yes, please. I am
But maybe it's
dying
just
to
this
know
art
more of the
specifically.
past.
Okay.
Maybe it's just
then
this
be
art
sure to check
specifically
out her
that's, like,
story quest.
skewing my
The
brain. I don't know.
Traveler and Skirk's paths will cross once again. Travelers will have the chance to uncover new clues about her past
But,
and the world of Tavad as a whole, so don't miss out.
hmm
Ah,
Skirk is
so
definitely in the
Leela is where we
category.
run into Skirk this time.
Of course,
Mhm.
yeah, it
Wow.
figures.
It's kind of weird seeing her out and about like this, isn't it? In such a normal location.
Right?
Wait, hold on a second. Is Skirk playing an instrument?
She doesn't look as weirdly
I mean,
childish
in my
now.
mind, she's like this, you know, ice
Okay, she
queen,
still has
but
the starry legs.
here
Alright.
she actually looks emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, there's almost a sadness.
Yeah,
there.
I don't really.
Yeah, it
I don't know,
seems
she's
like
still
that instrument
It's the
means a
small
lot to her.
female model.
Oh,
I don't know.
You don't even know.
Anyway.
It sure does. As for why she chooses to play it alone in a place like this, well, that's something travelers can uncover for themselves. What I
Okey-dokey.
can reveal is, after encountering a mysterious power
What
in
the-
this
just-
quest,
what-
the traveler starts having strange
No,
nightmares,
wait.
and it seems like Skirk is
Whatever.
the only one who can help.
You don't need to
Which
spoil the
means
plot.
The only way to resolve the situation is for the two to work together.
Okay, Slay. So we're teaming up with Skirk, huh?
Mhm.
Okay, but like, am I the only one who's a little intimidated?
What? Intimidated by Skirk?
She's not very
She's
intimidating.
only a mysterious sword master with insane fighting skills and an unbreakable.
Here, let me do a poll in my chat.
stone-cold exterior.
Is Skirk intimidating?
Seriously, though,
Because if the intention was for Skirk's design to be intimidating, they failed.
Communication powers, I think the traveler can hold their own.
Yeah, it'll be fine. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I like her
well,
design,
Now,
but,
I'm
like-
curious how she got that strong. I mean, okay, she reined in her master's pet, the
But, like,
devouring narwhal, like
Yeah.
it was nothing.
Gears.
Yeah.
And I
All
feel like
characters
we've
need gears
only
for some
seen
reason.
A fraction of what she can do.
True, and just like the truth about her past, that's a question travelers
Dark
will need to
motif better?
answer for themselves in game. So get ready to play.
Well-
but considering Skirk and the traveler will need to fight side by side, let's take
You
a
might
closer look
you
at
might
what she can
be
do
able
in
to you might be
combat.
able to get both. Look. Look at the color of her clothes. Yeah, Arlecchino is intimidating. Such that a new player will say, she scares me. Look, they're close. It's dark. I can barely see it right now because there's a freaking abyss mage in the way, but just playing the whale music. All right, I guess that makes sense.
As Child's master and someone capable of training in the abyss,
Tap Skirk's elemental skill to enter the 7-phase flash state and steadily consume snack soul points. Sorry, serpent subtlety.
From the abyss, but in the interest of
But it's still
blending in,
cryo.
she camouflages it to appear cryo-like
Oh,
in
okay.
nature.
That's why she's
And
cryo,
in
guys. She
addition,
camouflages her
Skirk
powers
stops
to be
relying on her
cryo-y.
mental energy. She uses a special kind of energy known as serpent subtlety instead.
Snack soul points.
And when you tap her elemental skill,
Look,
Skirk gains a certain
outfit
amount of
for
energy
anyone who
and
wanted
enters
the
a
dark
special
outfit.
combat state.
You get both.
Signaled by her change in outfit, which is very cute, might I add. While in this state, Skirk's normal, charged, and plunging attacks deal cryo damage that
And
can't
plunging
be
attacks.
overridden. This state also increases her resistance to interruption and attack AoE. And when cryo-related reactions are triggered, multiple void rifts will appear on the field.
Do you guys
Skirk
still need
can use her
captions on, or should I
charged
turn them
attack
off?
Or her special elemental burst to absorb the void rifts. And after unleashing a special elemental burst, her normal attacks damage
Oh,
will
we can
be
end the
increased
poll.
based on the number of rifts absorbed.
Aw,
80%
yeah.
says no.
So it's kinda
Skirk
like
is not
the more she
intimidating.
fights, the stronger she gets.
Yeah, pretty much. Plus,
1/5 of
holding
people.
her elemental skill is another
Yes.
option. When there are void rifts on the field, holding her elemental skill will allow Skirk to absorb them and gives her the ability to quickly maneuver around the battlefield. Once she has enough energy, she can unleash her elemental burst to deal consecutive slashes of AoE damage.
I see. So she's a unit.
I'm gonna
you
turn
can
them off.
keep on
Let
the
me know if you
field
need
for
them
a
back
long
on.
time.
I want them
Or
off.
take out when you need a sudden burst of damage.
Pairing her with Hydro
Yeah,
and
her
Cryo characters
special
also
points are
further
Night Soul, but
enhances
it's
her
not Night
abilities.
Soul. Don't call it Night
And
Soul
if
because it's
your
not
team
Night
is
Soul. It doesn't trigger
comprised
Night Soul
entirely
effects,
of
but it
Hydro
basically
and
works
Cryo
like Night Soul.
characters,
Look, it's a
your
bar
party
with
member's
points that goes
elemental
down,
skill level will be
and it
increased
goes
by
up when you do
1.
something.
Whoa, so she like enhances her party members' skills too. Once a mentor, always a mentor, I guess.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like Tartaglia had a great teacher.
Oh, he sure did.
Except Tartags is better.
Love the
Sorry,
look of her
I want to complain.
camouflaged abyssal powers.
Maybe they changed that. I would be so happy if they changed that. I'd be
Right? And when
I'd be
she
so
enters her
happy
special combat state,
if they did
her
that.
outfit changes too. Okay, slay. It looks a lot more suited for battle.
The video's quiet.
yeah.
Why is the video quiet?
So it seems
Oh,
like
frick.
travelers can
How about that?
approach combat in 2 ways then. You can use her special combat state to dish out damage with cryo-infused attacks and heighten this damage by
is?
absorbing
What?
void rifts with her special elemental burst.
How the
Or
guys,
after other Hydro and Cryo party
I have to
members
murder my
generated
ears if
void rifts,
this is
you
quiet
can
to you.
take to the field to quickly absorb them and build up energy to unleash powerful slashes with her normal elemental burst.
Yeah, both seem really, really useful. And since Cryo and Hydro characters enhance Skirk's skills, there are tons of team comp possibilities here.
I increased the audio a bit.
Oh, hey, speaking of, what about Dahlia? He's a Hydro character, right? Sounds like he could be a good fit for Skirk.
Oh, I think you're onto something here. We got to know him a bit during the Mondstadt interlude. He's so refined, but also kind of mischievous at the same time. One thing we haven't seen, though, is what he can do in combat. Want to give us the scoop, Aileen?
You got it. You are in for a treat.
Let's go.
Let's go!
Wait, did they say tons of team options? Did they really say that? I didn't even notice. Can't hear you. Can't hear before you increase. That's why I want subs on. Okay. Do you still need subs on?
Thus saith the animal archon.
I can turn them back on, but I just don't like subs
Okay,
blocking.
so
YouTube subs
Dahlia
are
is a
terrible.
Hydro
They
sword
block
user and
too much of the
support
footage.
character who
But
can use
anyways.
his elemental burst to provide a Hydro shield for his teammates.
Oh, it's like the shield appears in response
Yes,
to
it's
his
definitely a
prayer.
real shield.
Yes, and for a certain period of time, after unleashing his elemental burst, Dahlia can gain stacks of benison by hitting enemies with normal attacks or triggering freeze reactions. So when his shield breaks, Dahlia can consume his stacks of venison to summon it again, allowing him to continuously protect his
Meanwhile,
party
if your name is
members
Toma,
and to
you
increase
just
their
normal
resistance to
attack.
interruption.
Heck yeah.
And after unlocking
You normal
a
attack
specific
once and it
talent,
refreshes.
Dahlia can also boost the attack speed of the on-field character.
But no, Dahlia
allowing
has
them
to get
dish out damage
Bennett
even
stacks
faster.
to be able
nice.
to.
So he can help us
Yeah.
attack without interruption and increase our attack speed? Sounds like a huge help.
And with his elemental skill, Dahlia summons Sacramental Shower and places
It's
it
a
in a
trampoline.
designated location. His summon has different effects depending on who comes into contact with it. So, for example, if it's an enemy, Sacramental Shower will explode, dealing AoE hydro damage to surrounding enemies. But
AoE.
if a nearby party member comes into contact with it,
Yeah,
Sacramental
her accent is
Shower
pretty good.
will propel them high into the air, allowing them to evade enemy attacks while gaining an aerial advantage.
Wow.
Okay.
Told you it was
Yeah.
amazing.
So he's,
Told
like,
you Dahlia would be
really reliable
amazing.
in combat, even though he seems kind of mischievous the rest of the
You
time.
can F
No,
with people in
really.
co-op with it. That's good.
Yes, he definitely does. He has his little mischievous thing going on. I still remember all his teasing towards Venti during the Mondstadt interlude.
Aw.
But at the same time, he's also supposed to be the one who communicates with the will of Barbados, right? I'm not sure what to make of their dynamic.
Well, I guess first and foremost, he's Venti's friend, right?
It's a
But even
reliable
though he likes
shield.
to tease, he's serious about his position
It'll have reliable
as the
uptime.
Herald of Barbados. Oh, one more thing about his abilities. When
Not
Dahlia is in
strength.
your party, the movement speed of your party members is increased during the day.
Oh.
Hey,
Yay.
all the better to spread the word of Barbados. Praise Barbados, right? Is that how that works? Well, anyway, it's obvious he really cares about the people of Mondstadt.
Yeah.
Exactly, he definitely does. Besides, his mischievous nature keeps things a little bit interesting, don't you think? It's one of my favorite things about him.
Aw.
Should I DPS Dahlia?
Well,
Probably
now
on
that
someone
we've
else's
introduced
account.
Our 2 new characters for version 5.7.
Not gonna promise a
we
video
should
for sure,
probably let
'cause
travelers know when they can add them to their parties.
Can do.
if I can't have
Let's
fun with it,
jump
I'm not gonna
right
try
into
to
the event
make a video
wishes.
of it.
In the first half of version 5.7, we'll have
What?
event wishes
Wait,
for
Shenhe's
Skirk
first half.
and Shenhe.
I definitely expected
also
Mabuka
enjoy
first
a
half.
drop rate
Oh.
boost on the first
Okay.
half banners. Plus
Why?
a 5-star sword, Azure
Did they do that
Light,
just to make
will
the
be
weapon
featured
banner
on the
shittier?
weapon banner.
So I guess there's gonna be a lot of people that are
And in the
surprised by
second half of
Shenhe.
version 5.7, we'll have
Um,
returning event wishes for Mawika and Emily.
Yippee!
Like,
Pretty fire.
Emily would have been the
Alright,
smarter
that's it for
bet.
the event wishes.
I feel like.
Let's talk about the story content travelers can look forward to in the new
So Emily
version.
finally, Jesus
Ooh,
Christ.
okay. This is the big one.
Shenhe being paired with Skirk, by the way, is bait.
Okay,
Shenhe
let's
is
set the
like
scene. During their travels, the traveler comes across
Number
evidence that seems
5
to suggest
on
their
the- okay.
sibling was in Natland.
she's
Ooh,
she's
wait
within
up.
the grouping
I
of
see.
5 different characters that are like
Oh, no.
the best
That
4 slot for
means
Skirk's
things are
teams,
about to get
which means you
complicated.
very
Oh,
much do
very
not need
true.
Shenhe
I love
for
this.
Skirk. Okay.
From this image, it looks like the sky
I think you
has
should
been
get Shenhe maybe for
scratched in two,
Ayaka is
and
the
there's
main
some
thing.
kind of rift
Shenhe is still
connected
mostly
to
relevant for
this.
Ayaka.
And the
in
traveler
niche
and
other
her
use
sibling are
cases.
in different spaces, but they can still sense each other's presence.
Yes, I feel like the tension is palpable.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, there was definitely some tension when we saw our sibling during the bedtime story quest.
Oh yeah.
Although we
I'll
don't
talk about
know
the
what our
Shenhe rerun
sibling
a little
has
bit
been
more,
up to since
'cause-
then. Kari Bear did tell us that the Luma Fate has been
Yeah.
completed. Of course, we still don't know how powerful it is, or what's needed to activate it.
Well, call me crazy, but I feel like we're gonna find out soon.
Maybe.
It seems like all parties are converging in one place, Natland.
Mhm.
So maybe that's where we can get some answers.
And I know one thing travelers will encounter in Natland. A young woman dressed in peculiar clothing, hiding out in a cave.
When she
It's
playable.
not just her clothing that's special, though. Look at her eyes. Wait.
What?
Is she...
The
She's
plot
got
is
triangles. I mean,
thickens.
rhombuses.
Yeah.
Well, if the Abyss Order is out in
Yeah, this
full
is really
force
funny
in
for you,
Natland,
Sylvia. I must
mean
admit.
there's been a
It is
new
really funny.
development in our siblings' grand plan.
Yup, and the Pyro Archon and our other friends.
Shenhe's
from
weapon for
Natland
Emily,
are on
one of the
high
better
alert.
options.
But the people of Natland want a war against the Abyss itself. There's no universe where the Abyss Order gets to run wild in Natlan unchecked.
Well, if an altercation with the Abyss Order is in the cards, I know who's gonna be on the front lines. Twilight Sword himself, of course.
I mean, I can see it now. Dainsleif going all one-man army and rushing straight into action.
We actually will get to see it this time because our old friend Dainsleif is going to help us defeat their ranks in a manner we've never seen before.
Okay. This is not a drill, everyone. We finally get to see him in action.
Let's go! Pew, pew, pew! As the Traveler and Dainsleif venture deep into Abyss Order territory, we'll get to see
Whoa.
his special
Wait.
abilities firsthand.
Oh, it sounds like
Holy-
there's gonna be a lot of
holy-
obstacles between us and finding out the deal with our sibling.
They're getting ready for
What?
playable Dane.
Face the Abyss
That's what that
Order
animation
before. We
means.
can do this. I have
That's
no
some
doubt
ZZZ
Travelers will
things.
come out on top.
Oh yeah.
I guess, but the other question is, can we stop whatever our sibling is planning?
They're actually getting ready to release the boy.
What does their plan mean for tonight?
Probably next year,
This
realistically.
quest might hold some very important answers.
Really?
I am
Why else do you
so
think they're
excited.
working on
I feel like
animations
this
for
could
him?
be the start of a
Of course,
whole
they're
new
working on
phase of
animations for him because
quest
they want to
find
tease that he's
our
going to become
sibling.
playable.
Yes. It seems like it's not as simple
Probably
as
within the
just
next year.
finding them anymore. There's a lot more at stake.
Oh, for sure. So this is definitely one to look forward to. All right. I think this is a good place to stop and take our first
The
break.
question is,
Yeah,
will he
I need a
actually,
sec to digest
will he
all
be
the
a Skirk,
information.
where he's
So
disguising
good.
his
Take a
abyssal
look at the
powers?
second redemption code,
as
travelers. We'll
Dendro?
see you on the other side.
See ya.
Imagine he's just like your space time. Okay, imagine he's just like the 2025 or 2026 version of I'll Hate Them. Oh boy, that'd be upsetting. But like different color because abyss powers. Anyways, I'm saying Dendro because I think it'd be nonsense, right? It could be any element. I really would prefer that he was like abyss element. He pooped abyss matter on the enemy there in that brief little bit we saw. So, anyways, your space time is weird. It like as a vibe of saying your bedtime to me. I should go to sleep. Maybe that's why I think that. I don't know. Anyways, physical Dane. Yeah, he's our first physical off-fielder. Despite doing abyssal powers, he decides to hide his abyssal powers because, you know, his powers are not of this world. So for respect for the inhabitants of this world, the playable version of Dane's life just does physical
All
off-field
right,
damage.
welcome back, travelers. Now that we've introduced the new
3 seconds.
characters and quests, it's time to jump into the version 5.7 events.
Let's go!
Let's go! First up on the docket is an event that takes us back to Sumeru,
Oh boy.
where the Academia has developed a simulated adventure game.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm
Travelers
gonna turn
will
on
need to
captions.
select various companion pieces
And
to
I'm gonna
form
lower the
teams and
volume.
enhance their skills as they face
Because
off against various opponents in
I
a board game style environment.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. You
personally
can go the rainforest route or
Don't
the desert route. Each path has
need
its
to
own
hear that
story
much
and
about
level of
this.
difficulty.
And
at the end of each adventure, travelers will face formidable opponents that require a
But
certain
anyways,
level of strength to defeat.
okay, what
Ooh,
do we need to talk
how do
about?
we
We need
make
to talk
sure we're ready?
about
Well, travelers can enhance the strength of their pieces
Shenhe,
in several ways.
rerun.
Besides enhancing
Nav
the pieces
rerun,
themselves, travelers
Emily
might notice
rerun,
that the pieces are divided into species.
Spork.
Go to battle with a lot of pieces of the same species.
Shenhe
and
weapon. I
you
guess
can
we need to now
recreate
talk about
species
more.
features. The higher the
I definitely
feature
thought they were
level,
gonna do
the stronger
Moika
your pieces become.
Or Emily.
Yeah,
Like they chose to make the weapon banner the worst it could be for
thinking
Skirk.
An all-Saurian team
Huh.
could be cool. Oh, and it looks like you can also assign equipment to
Weaker
pieces
Emily
to
would
make
have been
them
a better
stronger.
weapon banner
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
right. And random events and encounters will occur during the adventure, which travelers can resolve to
Um,
earn helpful rewards, like extra adventure coins, which travelers can use in the shop to purchase pieces to improve
For what it's
their
worth, like-
lineup. Travelers can also open chests to get all kinds of useful equipment.
Okay, I'm gonna
Plus,
go- it's
defeating
even lower.
formidable opponents along the route will allow you to
Um,
unlock secret techniques that can help increase
Let's
the
have
strength
a
of your
Shenhe
entire
weapon
team.
yap while they're doing event
Of
yap.
course, certain
Uh,
encounters will also
Shenhe's
grant
weapon
weapons.
Oh yeah.
is,
So
for what it's
there
worth,
are
at minimum, if you're
situations
wishing
where
on
it
it
all
for
comes
Skirk's
down to
weapon, and like
luck.
I don't
Yeah, so I
don't think you should
travelers
wish
will
for
have a lot
Shenhe's
of fun
weapon
dealing with
personally.
the
But if you happen to
unexpected
get
in
it,
this
right?
event.
It's actually a pretty
It's a real
good
test
stat
of
stick
tactical
weapon for
thinking.
a few different
Plus,
units in
there's
the game
more
at
to
this point.
event than just the battle
As far as 5 stars, yes, one of them is
Travelers can
Emily,
also
as the
participate
chat
in
is mentioning.
research stages that
But
involve guiding Paimon
the other
targets
one
for
is a
free.
Scofier,
Complete these
actually.
stages to increase your speculation level and unlock
From what I
additional
recall
buffs
of
for
my
your team.
own
So we
calcs,
actually get to
it's a
put time on
Scofier's second
teamwork.
best weapon for her personal
Finally.
damage.
Yup, and of course,
To be clear,
completing
Scofier
this
has
event
ER
will
needs
reward
and actually
travelers
quite
with all
high
sorts
ER
of
needs in the
goodies,
Skirk team,
including primo gems
so
and the chance to invite Sethos to
Eh.
the parties.
it's
Nice.
okay. It's pretty good.
In this
Um,
next event, an old friend
but,
and
like, my point is,
genius
like,
inventor from Fontaine is back,
if you happen to
better
get
than
Skirk's
ever with a
or
new
Shenhe's
improved
weapon
turret.
when going for Skirk's
Let me
weapon,
guess, he needs
at
us to
least
clear out
you can
monsters
put it
in
on a
abandoned
Scofier,
ruin
and like
again?
it's
Yeah,
theoretically
that's
an
right.
upgrade for the
But
team.
this time, travelers will face
Theoretically.
more formidable enemies than just slimes.
Whoa, that Somatril can give
Um,
shields to its allies.
Oh.
Yeah, but don't worry.
I can tell you
With
that
this
makes
new
me.
improved
Well, I don't know.
turret, we can use
The thing is, if they put
several
Malika with her
handfuls
or
to
they
help
put
clear out our opponents.
uh,
Nice.
Emily
For
with her,
example,
neither of those are
range
units
shots
I needed
split into
extra
small
copies of their
bullets when
weapon from.
fired are good for
So
taking out
I would be
multiple
screwed either way.
enemies.
I was considering pulling
And
Skirk's weapon.
directed piercing shots can be
One
used
for
to
Skirk,
take
but
down shields or
secondarily,
target enemies hiding in the corner.
I actually want
Whoa,
Skirk's weapon for
sounds
Bennett,
like the type of event
but
where you can really just let
we'll
loose
talk
and
about that
relieve
more in a
some
little bit
stress.
once the stream's done.
Definitely.
Um,
But
Should I put it?
strategic
Should I put it on
ammunition choices
Shenhe?
will
Because I have
help
Shenhe.
clear out
No.
the battlefield.
Shenhe's signature weapon is Fab.
So far,
I know
we've
that
introduced
Mihoyo
events
says
you
it's
have to
not Fab,
tackle
but Shenhe's signature
solo,
weapon is
but
Fab.
this
I'm sorry.
next event gives travelers the chance to work as a team. In reminiscent
I'm sorry.
retro
Yeah, like I
frenzy,
am of the
travelers
opinion
will
that's
get to
not.
team
It's like
up with
me
other
laughing,
players
but
to tackle
me laughing
challenges
because it's
made up
true.
of 3 stages, each with
So,
unique objectives.
yep.
Ooh, it'll be
Um,
cool seeing what characters everyone chooses.
Third code
Could
win. I
make
don't even
for
know.
some
Is there a third
interesting
code? Because
team
there's only 2 codes
goals.
that leaked.
Well, there's a theme associated with
It's
each
possible there's only
challenge,
2
so
codes
your
this
best
time.
bet
If they're
is to
really only
choose
doing 2
character
codes, then
whose
an
skills are
extraordinary
suited
dick
to the
move.
objective.
But
But of course, every character
Anyways.
has their strengths.
yeah, in the
Each
Skirk team,
stage
every
also
signature is
has
Fab. Yeah,
smaller
pretty much.
objectives that require
Hey,
teams
look,
to
Skirk
work
gameplay.
together and combine their skills. Completing these submissions can grant buffs to your own entire team.
Scofier, Farina,
And in
Tartag.
addition, at the beginning
Also,
of
they
each
still just talk
challenge,
about the
your
endgame
team will be
combat, by the way.
assigned random regiments to complete. Once you make it
Oh,
through
we
the
just
final
got the
stage,
non-league
your
code?
team
Oh,
will
okay.
receive additional
Okay,
friendly
so the other
stars
one, if you want all the
based on
codes right
regular
now,
completion
the other one is
status.
apparently Void Star
And
0618.
remember, regiments benefit the entire team. It doesn't matter who completes them.
Okay, so not saying I need to do this or anything.
But yeah,
in theory, you could kind of coast to the finish line.
okay, we can take a look at the other characters that Shenna's weapon is relevant for,
You could,
Um,
in theory.
other than Shungling.
But I think all
Eonson
travelers have
actually
something
is
to
an interesting
contribute.
context.
And at the end of the day, it's about how you work together. That's the joy of co-op.
I feel like co-op is its own kind of motivation too. No one wants to let the team down.
For sure. And this time, teamwork is more important than ever. Because in this iteration of the event, dire difficulty is even more challenging.
Ooh, that means whether
Okay.
it comes to character selection or
I don't
combat
know.
strategy,
I don't remember this event,
coordination is
but
more important than ever.
the high difficulty
Good
of
luck, travelers.
co-op
Should be a fun
in
one.
previous events that they've done.
Alright, now I'm very excited to announce
Oh, look.
a new permanent
I'll turn the
event
button
called
back up.
Stygian Onslaught.
Ooh.
In this event, travelers will be able to farm artifacts more freely and efficiently, as well as obtain artifact customization items for free.
For free.
I still don't understand
For
the point of
free.
that.
A new
uh,
permanent event. Okay, we need details
what?
now.
All right. Each update will feature a challenge that is split into 3 phases, each featuring unique mechanics with 5 difficulty levels to choose from.
Ooh.
Participation in the event will reward travelers with primo gems, artifacts, and valuable
Free?
items for targeted artifact enhancement.
Supposedly it's not free. Is
Okay,
the information
so
we had
You
before.
said we'll be
I
able
hope
to
it- I
farm
hope it- I hope
artifacts
it's free.
more freely? What does that mean exactly?
It means the artifact drops aren't set in stone, and you can switch where they come from. For the first
That's
10
not for
days
free.
after the event begins, the leyline disturbance will be in outbreak state. During this period, travelers who clear any stage
No,
at level 3 difficulty or higher
you
can
you
expend
said
any kind of
free.
resin to obtain artifacts from the leyline blocks
You.
at the end of the stage. And before the
Mihoyo,
stage begins,
words mean
travelers will
things.
get to choose which domain of blessing they
You
want
wrote the
artifact
script.
drops
You
to
said
come
for
from.
free.
Right. So travelers can also tackle the
Oh,
stages in
God.
co-op, right?
So
you
the
can still
artifact thing
farm
is
with
stupid
friends.
and
Yes.
pointless.
And you'll be rewarded
Anyways.
with additional artifacts every
Just
time
as
you
an
consume
FYI.
a certain amount of resin.
Like-
Okay, the amount of hours I'm about to pour
It
into
is
this
essentially
thing.
pointless. Like
Lock me in
like
and
it,
go
it,
with
it gives you like
Kingsley.
Well, my god. You make
a
it sound
couple,
like, you're
like
in
one
prison.
artifact
Anyway,
every
you also mentioned
small
something
amount of time.
about targeted artifact enhancement, Katiana. What's that about?
Yeah, right. So, version 5.7 is introducing a new artifact-related item, Dust of Enlightenment.
Okay, we haven't heard of this. What the frick is this?
Ooh, what is it?
Well, we all know what it's like to raise.
Is this a re-roller? Are we getting a freaking
only for it
re-roller?
to turn out kind of less than ideal.
Yeah.
So this item is designed to help with that. So, Artifact 101, right? We all know every 4 levels, a random substat gets enhanced as you raise an artifact to level 20. But it doesn't
You may
always turn
consume
out
dust
the
to
way you
reallocate
want.
the enhancements
So
to fully
this
leveled.
item allows you to
It's like-
re-roll the substat enhancements of a level 20
Okay,
artifact.
it's just a full
Yo,
reroll.
wait,
Okay,
really?
all right.
Yeah.
Holy.
For each reroll, you get to specify the types of substats you want to prioritize. After the result is
What?
revealed, you can choose to either keep the original substat
Okay.
configuration.
Is this how the one in
or
Star Rail
accept
works?
The new one.
Oh my god, it's like being able to resurrect an artifact from the grave. Like, we really needed this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well-
really powerful, right? Starting in 5.7,
rip to
travelers who participate in the new permanent event
all of
Stygian
the-
Onslaught will be able to obtain a total of 3 Dusts of Enlightenment per version for
Per
free.
version.
And the Gnostic Hymn and Gnostic Chorus rewards will feature 1 each.
Oh.
Plus, during version 5.7,
Holy.
travelers will be able to claim
Is there only
2
one
Dusts of
per?
Enlightenment directly from their in-game
How many is a
mailbox
per?
after logging
Did they
into
show how many
Genshin
it is
Impact.
consume that?
Yes.
Okay, let's
I feel
just
like with how
pause to
many,
take
okay,
that in for a
I
sec.
feel like with how many they're
But I
giving,
do have a question. So, according to the devs, the rewards for clearing the level 5 difficulty in the new permanent event can only be obtained by completing it solo. But what if that level
so this is the actual reason. Supposedly, by the way, we were told that the
Yeah, well,
reward for the
don't worry, I'll hard
highest
for you.
difficulty endgame
Whoa.
was a
Well, I
weapon
will
skin.
come in and the
This is
strongest
much better than a
travelers
weapon
into that
skin.
will come in to help us out. Specifically, we're
So there
talking
was a
about
surprise
travelers
this
who have
stream.
an even
It
higher
showed
level
only
of
consuming one.
difficulty.
That's incredible then.
Characters used to
If they're gonna give
complete
us
those
like
battles
4
become
or 3
exalted
free per
ones.
patch,
Then, when
3
attempting a
per
level 1
patch?
through 5 difficulty challenge, other travelers can receive
3
extra
rerolls per
buffs by
patch for
including
4-line
exalted ones
artifacts?
in their lineup.
That's
Oh,
incredible. Unless there's some
cool.
catch,
So
which there might
travelers
be.
can help each other even
There was a catch
outside
to
of
the
co-op.
elixir
I like
stat
that.
guaranteeing
And I
thing.
need that. Wait. hold
Also,
on.
how does this
You
interface with the
mentioned an
elixir
even
guaranteed
higher
stats?
level of difficulty just now. I thought level 5 was the highest.
Yeah, well, clearing level 5 solo unlocks a secret level of difficulty.
We haven't heard anything level 6 either.
Level
What?
6, dire difficulty.
Oh no.
Once
Okay,
you reach
so-
level 6, it's dire straits. There are no companions to turn to for comfort, no promise of primo gems to drive you forward.
What?
Just formidable enemies and an unrelenting desire to prove yourself.
That's- I want to preface. That's going to be impossible for most people, by the way.
So you're
That
telling me travelers really don't get anything in return for accomplishing something like that?
Well, we'll just have to wait and see now, won't we?
What? I can't wait.
that's going to be a whale.
That's it for
Like
Stygian
it's going to be a
Onslaught.
whale.
Just
Like
a reminder, the
so
outbreak period begins
the
second Wednesday after
the
a version
DPS
3.4,
threshold,
8
ignoring
days
the
into
boss
new
mechanics,
version.
if I
So
recall.
Don't forget to gather your friends and get farming when the time comes. All right, time to lock in.
They didn't mention that
Travelers
that
might
co-op
also
that can be
be
co-opted,
excited
by
to
the
hear
way,
that the
which
next
is the real fun of
installment
that
The Traveler's Tales
end
is
game.
coming in version
Um,
5.7.
Okay, Slay. Last time was so much fun. We got to reunite with so many old friends and make a lot of great new
Maybe it's the same cost as
memories.
transmuter. They show
Why
the
don't we
feather,
take
which
a look
costs
at
1.
some
Oh, I
of the
bet you're
characters
right,
who told us
Hunbot. You're
this
probably
time
right.
around.
I bet Hunbot's right. You
Whoa,
probably it
hang
probably
on a
is the
sec.
same as
So
elixirs,
Tom
where
was
there's a
back in
different
Moscow,
cost
and he's drinking with Kaya
per
at the
different
Angels
things.
Share.
Mhm. I never thought about it before, but
But anyways,
now that I
I'm
see
fine
it,
with a no primo
yeah,
reward dire
I feel
difficulty
like
thing.
they
I'm
totally
completely
make
fine with that.
dating buddies.
But it's a very, I just want to tempt like
Looks like he's
people.
got quite the
If the
posse around
rewards are
him.
extremely minor,
Oh, it's so cute. I want to know what they're
let us
talking
have
about.
it. Let some
And
people
looks
have
like
it.
Dory's in
It does.
Inazuma.
You don't need every bit of content in the game to be
Trying
for you.
sell
Okay.
something to
If you
Sayu?
can't clear
Of
it,
course.
just saying.
Oh no, someone
Anyways.
save Sayu. She's too innocent for Dory's schemes.
Honestly, though, a crafty merchant like Dory could show up anywhere, and I wouldn't be surprised. I bet we even run into her and not cry.
They mentioned you could only get the level 5 rewards, the rerolls, if you beat it solo. I don't
Wonder how many of her
care.
friends will show up this time.
From what I've heard, it's quite
That's
a
fine.
few. So keep a lookout while exploring the open
I
world,
care about co-op in the mode for
Being
be
run
able
into
to
characters in the
have
open world
fun
is such a
with
nice
co-op
addition.
in this
I wish it
game.
was part of every version.
Right? I know. It
Crazy
really makes the
idea,
open
I know,
world feel more
but-
alive and interactive.
Yeah, and luckily the devs feel the same way. The devs have said that making Traveler's Tales a permanent event is in the works, so travelers can look
What?
forward to that sometime in the future.
A permanent event? What?
Finally, Overflowing
Okay.
Abundance is returning at the end of version 5.7. Travelers can look forward to double the talent and weapon
Wow.
ascension material drops, so don't miss out.
In addition, new envisaged echoes challenges.
Wow,
will be
purple
added in
farts.
Version 5.7.
Oh, for the
And
Raiden Shogun
red and
Shenna.
white farts.
Oh, Shenna.
I think Shenna's might actually be the
So
best looking
cool.
one.
I see sigils and pops of red in there. Okay,
Also looks
girl,
better on the
pretty.
better skin, so.
And the Raiden Shoguns
Mhm.
like petals floating in the wind. The purple matches so well.
So pretty.
Yep. So if you want to claim them, make sure your characters are ready. Travelers can also
Yeah, we'll
look
get 'em,
forward to some
Polems.
Genius
We'll get 'em.
Invocation TCG updates, including new character and action cards. You can now add Mawika and Seat Lolly and Chaska to your decks.
Don't miss out, Genius.
Is Shallonen, Seat Lolly, Malika gonna be the most the most OP
First up is
PCG
an
deck?
improved resource management feature for mobile players.
Oh.
Simply put, it's a practical update designed to reduce the package size of the mobile version.
Wow.
Nice. I feel like our phones will thank us.
Mhm. After the 5.7 update, travelers will receive a pop-up notification after opening Genshin Impact on mobile, asking them to choose from different resource plans.
Okay.
Under the basic plan, the system will retain the necessary resources for daily gameplay and optimize the resource usage for some Archon quests, story quests, and hangout events.
Okay, so that means
How
clearing
exciting.
out some old quest resources to save storage space, right? But what about players who
Spiral Abyss
progress
optimization.
their
It's
all over
don't
the
get that
place?
excited about it.
Mm.
They already announced
Don't
that. It's in the
worry,
dev
The
discussion.
dev team has accounted for that. The system will provide different guidance and solutions based on account progress and quest status to ensure that travelers still have a smooth gaming experience. And when you need to start an Archon quest, story quest, or hangout event that isn't enabled, the system will download the required
Wow, I can
resources
download them
as
individually now. Thank God.
Yup. So travelers who haven't updated the
Wow.
mobile version in a long time might be able to free up quite a bit of
I've
storage
actually had a
space with
problem
this
where I've
optimization.
uninstalled some
I
data
need
from
that.
my phone before,
it sounds
and
like
then I try to log in on a
cross-platform
different account to like
players who maybe
do
rely on
grinding
mobile
of
more
story
for
or whatever on my
resources.
phone
Yeah,
while I'm doing
of
something else.
course,
Just
if you
tap through
don't
on my
have
phone.
storage concerns,
But then it's like,
nothing has to change.
but I
Just
can't like
choose
log
to
into the
keep
account
all
because I don't
game
have the
resources
quest
instead.
resources
And
because
this
it was
setting can be
uninstalled
changed
because
at
another
any
account was logged in
time
that already
in the
completed the
timeline
quest.
menu.
So
You
now
can choose for
that
completed
is
quest
resolved.
resources
Wow,
to
good
be
job.
automatically
Yay.
cleared in future version updates, or for all game resources to be updated as normal.
Since the quest can be
This
individually
should also
downloaded.
make it easier for people to try out Genshin Impact for the first time.
Yup. For further details, be sure to
Wow.
check out the developers discussion as well as future announcements across Genshin Impact's official accounts.
Okay.
And
I'm fine with
you'll
that feature
now
not
be
being
able
on
to
PC
directly
personally.
Use Fragile Resin to claim rewards from Leyline Blossoms and common challenge domains, like
Cool.
artifact and talent material domains. This also applies to the artifact drops in the new permanent event we introduced earlier.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah,
Fragile
see the
resins
bonus
were
there?
60
That's what the new
original
thing
resins.
gives
So
you.
that
You get like
means you get
one
two
extra
resins.
artifact.
Save a
Ooh.
few trips to the crafting bench, that's for sure.
Like, ugh. But it's gonna take you
Also,
way
the
longer to
Adventure
get it.
Handbook
So
will now
like,
have guide
is it
entries
actually
for
worth your
40 resin
real world
bosses,
time?
which should be helpful if you run into a boss you're not
I think it'll
quite
take you
sure
way
at.
longer. I don't know actually.
And the icons will be displayed in the order the bosses were unlocked, which should make it more intuitive to navigate.
All right, let's move on to some optimizations for the Spiral Abyss.
Oh boy.
When moving to the next floor or restarting a challenge, you can now save your current party lineup or clear it with a single click.
Oh, easy.
And
Wow.
you can claim your challenge rewards
Holy.
directly after completing floor 12.
Wow, I
Not
needed that.
satisfied with your performance, you can also restart the challenge directly from the finalization screen.
Nice.
Wow.
Things here and there really add up over time.
You no longer have to be paranoid about whether or not you clear when the
These
timer's at
optimizations make for a better
7:01.
experience overall.
Whether or not you continue and try to let the enemy die, or
it's not over yet.
now you can hit
Mystery
retry
guest left a
after.
message for us, so let's
Wow.
check it out along
That's all
with
that
the
means,
third
basically.
redemption code.
旅人の皆さんこんにちは。
Hi.
きあいりです。今回ゲーム原神の皆さんと一緒にお仕事をすることになりました。とても嬉しいです。ありがとうございます。
Okay.
で私
Does anyone
は
recognize who she is?
スカーク というキャラクターのアニメショートテーマソングの
Singing the theme song. Okay.
という楽曲を歌わせていただいたんですが、この楽曲は全編英語で世界各国というか世界に
Okay. I wasn't sure if she was like a recognizable actor
全て英語の詩なので
or
私にと
K-pop
っては
or
この世界
voice
に
actor or whatever, right?
経験でとてもドキドキしたのですが、こう皆さんと一緒に気持ちを
I expected art, not a not a random lady talking about her thing, but I don't know. It's fine, I guess.
歴史を聞いて
You know, for what it's worth, this is a slightly different kind of, you know, a version stream than typical, and I appreciate that. They've actually revealed information we didn't know about.
その気持ちが届くと嬉しいです。
There's this.
この楽曲はショートフィルムと同時公開されます。
And why is a real girl on my screen? Get it out.
ください。あゆみでした。
Oh, she's saying "Daddy, Daddy" too. Oh, okay. She's awesome, man.
So exciting. Well, you guys, that brings us to the end of our announcements for this
Wow.
version.
They didn't even mention the loadouts, by the way.
That was a whirlwind.
It's doomed. It's not real loadouts. There's no way. If they didn't even mention the loadouts in this, it's doomed. The loadouts are not real. The loadouts are not real. There's no way. I don't believe. I refuse to
You
believe.
know, I'm also really excited about the new permanent content like Stygian Onslaught. How about you guys?
Me too.
It's kind of hard to pick just one. I mean, I'm excited.
Let's
for,
talk
like,
about the
Maldita
DPS check on
and
difficulty
TCG,
6.
But like, I'm also really excited to see Nebilet, my fave, in the Traveler's Tales.
Yes. Well, I'm really excited for. I might be a little biased as well. I'm really excited for Skirk.
Who?
Wow, really? I am also so excited for Dahlia, and like we've been waiting so long for these characters, and also Dane's Lip. I'm so excited, and that animated short. Oh my gosh! And also, of course, the lore girlies.
The dramatic piano in the background.
This patch. I'm so excited for that twins quest.
Yes, I feel like it's clear from the last few patches that the story has really been amping up lately.
I love
and
me
this
some
version seems to be no
background.
exception.
Yeah, right? I
Piano.
mean, pretty soon we'll be in our fifth
Piano's a
year
great
of
instrument.
adventuring, if you
Anyways,
can believe
sorry.
it. Feels
Distracted.
like it was just yesterday.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it feels like we're really getting to see how a lot of elements.
Yeah, are they
that
gonna
seem
tease
so
No
at
Cry?
first
Probably
are
not. It's just
starting
gonna
to
end.
converge.
Mm-hmm. And after what we saw in the dev team's Nod Cry teaser, I'm even more excited to see how the story unfolds from here.
Right? And we hope travelers have fun doing the same.
Okay, so that's it for the Genshin Impact version 5.7 special program. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody.
Ad Astra Abyssask travelers and happy adventuring!
Can I get 5 big booms?
Boom! 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 Oh, wait a second. It looks like another.
Oh, they are
friend
teasing.
from
They were
afar
they
is
were
rushing
they
over
were
to share some
they were just stalling.
interesting news.
Wow. What?
Nod Cry. An ever-changing
Nod Cry?
landscape of ruin.
I thought it was Node Cry.
A
for some
marvel corroded by time. In the forest, where the nights were once undisturbed save for a few rays of moonlight, the wild hunt's shadow grows. There are those who bear the name of
reason. I want to play as a
Frostmoon,
deer.
living where the silver light shines.
Oh god, we're gonna have to kill 500 deer next year.
Others carry the torch, fending off the darkness and cold with their blades. I hear that the Snow-Land Fae still yearn for the frosts of old. While the Fatui look to the stars above,
Which one? I'll bet that's the
trying
character
in
next
vain
patch.
to seize the false firmament. Then there are the knights, draped in the west wind, nearing the end of a long and arduous mission. My friends, of course, shan't be outdone. They will no doubt bring a magical charm to this edge of the world. And just as the stone craves
assume
the
that's Alice.
sculptor's hand,
Maybe.
so does fate await your gaze. Pour me another cup of tea, if you'd be so kind. The story is about to begin.
Wow. Yeah, I still look for it. I really hope it's because it seems like it's going to be a different story structure, right? I'm really looking forward to the story structure next year. This next year ish. whatever. It's technically happening this year. Anyways. Event calendar. Wow, how exciting. 625 to 729 Stygian Onslaught. Okay, so Stygian Onslaught is resetting monthly? Wait, 625. It's not. Aww. It's not starting the. Aww. Oh. Okay. 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 They gotta slap me with a disappointment at the end. Okay. Well. Is the Jeff streaming? He's not streaming on Discord, it says. I kind of want to bother him. Because he... yeah, let's go... Why? The reason being is... Okay. I'm not gonna He's yapping about something.
I need some explanations, okay?
Oh, he's talking to someone. Oh, I see. Oh, he's talking to some dude that pretends he didn't see anything about Yeah, okay. We know. Whatever. I'll let it go in the background. He's distracted. I wanted to ask him what the... Because he probably knows off the top head what the DPS check would approximately be with a level 110 enemy. I'm pretty sure we can calculate it. I just don't know what the current starting point... I don't know what the current HP is. But anyways. So the DPS check for level 5, not level 6, is like 70,000. And that's ignoring... Like 70,000 DPS, and that's not factoring in the fact that these enemies in this new endgame have very specific mechanics to deal with. So how much of a problem that's going to be it depends. A lot of people are not going to clear difficulty 5. I'm just gonna be real with you guys. So temper your expectations on how many of the artifact rerollers you're gonna get. Okay. Their intention is for that to be their intention is for that to be a high investment late game thing. And difficulty 6 is going to be like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to clear difficulty 6. Like realistically, I'm going to hate difficulty 6 because it probably would force me to use really OP teams that I don't like. Don't forget to put ads back on. Oh yeah, true, thank you. So like I don't know exactly what the DPS check is going to be. It's going to be over 100,000 DPS. And I don't know. I might do it once. I might try to do it once, but probably never again, kind of thing. So did they say D6 would give you reroll? No, they teased though, like it doesn't give you primo gems. It doesn't give you more. This is just for the fight, right? They said specifically that, but they're like, oh, but surely there's some reward, and they're like, well, you're just gonna have to find out. They said specifically that. That is code word for like, you'll get like a special profile icon or a background banner thing. That's what that's code for. Is you'll get some special cosmetic thing to be as a flex that you did it. So, or maybe it's the weapon skin. Yeah, maybe the weapon skin thing is still real, and that's actually difficulty 6. Maybe you can get a weapon skin to make your Arlecchino look like she has a scythe when she has her better weapon equipped. But that would maybe. We heard that would, but that all we heard was weapon skin without any actual information on what it was. So no co-op Abyss. I mean, they didn't mention anything about the co-op. I will be extremely disappointed if it doesn't actually have co-op when we got multiple bits of confirmation that it had co-op. That difficulty up to difficulty 3, which is the Primo Gem rewards, was... I'm gonna get artifacts while I yap. Difficulty up to difficulty 3 was artifact, just Primo Gems, but then like quite easy. Like up to difficulty 3, the Primo Gem rewards easy. But past that, and up to difficulty 3 is the matchmaking co-op, supposedly, is what the information that we had. Difficulty 4, 5, and presumably 6 were co-opable, but only with people that are currently in your world, right? So not random matchmaking. only people in your world. And someone also mentioned that it said in the stream there that that you only get the rewards if you clear it in single player, which is not that surprising. On the topic of the artifact reroller, yes, the reroller got announced in the live stream. We had no information about the reroller beforehand, which is wild, and a little bit crazy. So, yeah, it's possible Dire mode is only a single player. I don't know. It'd be a little bit weird if it can't be co-op when the difficulty 4 or 5 is gonna be. But anyways, the reroller, by the way, is funny because like this is this is punishment for like there is many an artifact that I have definitely thrown away that were 4-line starts that are gone now. Right? They were 4 lines, but rolled poopies. So now, welcome to the era of if you are a high enough investment player to get those things consistently every patch. You are just going to keep every single 4-line piece. Like this reroller thing substantially exaggerates the value of 4-line artifacts, right? Like 3-line artifacts will be useless in the context of a high investment account that has access to the artifact reroller. Okay. So I don't know. Like, okay. Oh boy. What the frick? I gotta like take a PC through some of my builds and be like, all right, which pieces are 4 lines that I think I might use this on. Actually, funnily enough, I might be down. This is not a 4-line, but I might be down to reroll this thing, because it's just kind of right. No, don't need to reroll that. This I might consider, like, this is an elixir piece, right? And this is one thing, like, this is an elixir piece after the elixir update, right? It has the elixir icon on it. And it said, like, the reroller thing said you could target the stats. I don't understand the point of the targeting stats thing exactly right now. But anyways, point being, I could reroll something like this, right, and try to get more crit rolls, and like you get the choice to keep the new one or keep the old one. And someone mentioned in the chat that I think they're probably right, particularly with how many they're giving per patch. It's probably the same structure as elixirs, where I bet it's for flowers and feathers rerolling is 1, and then for timepieces is probably 2. For goblets, I bet it's 4. And then for circlets, I bet it's 3. Or it might be a slightly different structure than that. But I bet that chatter was right earlier. I forgot to turn ads back on. I bet that chatter was right earlier. Where... okay, I'm setting YouTube back to the automatic conservative, aka the lowest setting for ads. So, there you go. That would suck, kind of. Yeah, I honestly think it's a little bit of a mistake for them to do that. Because if they do that, the vast majority of the time you should use those on your flowers and feathers. Because each one reroller thing being able to be used on a 4-line artifact means you can like keep on rerolling a 4-line flower or feather to like get more crit value, right? Targeting is probably either 2 guarantees or maintaining rolls. Yeah, that's probably what it is. You're right. But what happens though if I reroll this, right? Because this is an elixir piece. What happens if I reroll this with those things? Does it guarantee more crit rolls than 2? I don't know. But yeah, this thing is definitely better on lower cost pieces if it's multiple costs. And that's like part of my one hope, and maybe it's only 1 cost for anything. Because if it's not 1 cost for everything, then other than the context, like when you have a really high... Oh, frick me. I'm going to go log on to Polearms only quick. By the way, Akasha leaderboards, just... if you're insane, because this is the context I'm going to use that I think is interesting for the context of evaluating how to use these rerollers. I want to go and look at my Arlecchino build. My absurd, absolute min-maxy Arlecchino build. Akasha's going to go crazy. No, what's going to happen is that this is going to shift the bell curve on like Akasha, like artifact quality substat distribution. Unless there's something about this that's implemented in a way that is blech. Right. So as an example, right, what do I use it on for my Arlecchino? Well, I could technically for this, but that's a crapshoot. For something that's like minorly better, like I would have to get a 4-line piece for it to fundamentally be better. Funnily enough, I could use it on this. I could try to get 5 crit rolls. This can't really roll better. Like I could get higher roll values, but like no. Feather, I have an off piece, and then flower, like this can't really roll better. So in my case, right, I'd probably use it on a timepiece, right? Do I only have one 4-line? That's a 3-line. That's a 3-line. That's a 3-line. Okay, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I've only gotten one 4-line double crit piece. Okay, so I could use it on this. Is my point, right? I can use it on this and re-roll this to try to get the perfect piece. And I can tell you the perfect piece, like if right now, this is ignoring the fact that when this update comes, I am competing with people that also will be doing similar things. So the top end of leaderboards on Akasha are going to become hyper competitive. Like it's going to be down to like whether or not your flat attack rolls are present on your artifacts is whether or not you have like the highest ranking. I'm not kidding. Which is not, it does not matter for your in-game experience, by the way. But like, whether or not you had like a high starting roll of flat attack, and whether or not you got 6.2, or sorry, whether or not you got like a 7.8 versus 7 crit damage will be the difference maker. It already is the case at the highest end of Akasha leaderboards, oftentimes for the really popular characters that from like Emblem domain, for example, that people farm a lot. But like the Whimsy domain, for example, people farm less. So like, for me to be able to get to number 1 Arlecchino, by the way, my Arlecchino is number 44 right now. For me to be able to get to number 1 Arlecchino, I'd basically need this piece, take this 1 crit rate roll, put it into crit damage, and take this flat attack roll, put it into crit damage. So if this was like a 35 crit damage piece, essentially. After people have access to this reroller, I don't think that's actually enough. But right now, it would be enough to get to number 1, I'm pretty sure. Right? We're talking 2 more crit, not 2 more crit rolls, but crit rolls being redistributed slightly better. So anyways, the leaderboards are going to be hyper competitive now at the top end, and what this is just going to shift the bell curve. It's going to cause some weird statistic distribution things, and it's a very good thing all in all. But it means that like, I hope you saved artifacts like, let's see, I think I have one actually. This is actually one I might target. Yeah, I think this one's a 4-line. Yep. I might reroll this one. Because this is an ideal artifact for me for Arlecchino. But it has to roll like this for this artifact to be used instead of my off piece, it has to kind of roll like this off piece. So I could continually reroll this piece, right? Because this is a 4-line with ideal starting stats other than low roll crit damage, to be clear. But I started with a high crit rate roll. And like, if I get 4 crit damage rolls and then attack percent and whatever instead of EM and 3 attack percent rolls, this is an artifact that's an onset piece that enables an off piece on Arlecchino, right? To be clear, I actually don't have that good of off piece time pieces to put on her. Like I only have like very minorly better pieces, but that's, oh well. That is what it is. So anyways, yeah, that's interesting. Like the min-maxing your builds then is going to take a lot less resin. You want to save them probably for, well, I don't know. Do you need to save them? I don't know. Like elixirs, as I said before, elixirs. Oh, that's funny. Elixirs, as I've said before, in my opinion, are best used with. It's not my birthday, by the way. That's just what I set my birthday to on this account. Oh, okay. Elixirs, in my opinion, are best used to like finish your farming, like to complete your build. So like I used 3 elixirs on my main account recently to get a Skirk crit damage circlet, and I got a crit damage circlet. It didn't roll exactly how I was hoping, but it rolled well enough that it's usable, right? And that's exactly the ideal. These things, so unlike the elixirs, where elixirs I think are best used weirdly enough at a lower investment level for just like finishing your build, but for like getting the right baseline stats kind of thing. These things I think are actually best used for min-maxing builds, which is why I think it's fine for them to give this as a reward for a very difficult endgame challenge. Like it's going to be substantially harder than Abyss to get these things. You should understand that. It's going to be difficult to get these things. So anyways, yeah, that's where that's at. Anything else to talk about with the elixir things, or the not elixir things, whatever, I don't know what they're called. I forgot what the name was, but it's a yay for casuals too. Yeah, for sure. It's a yay for casuals because once you get that baseline double crit piece, you could potentially, well, the problem is casuals aren't going to get them. Remember, they said, wait, no, how many did they say? They said 3 per patch. Was that 3 including the one in the battle pass? Because they said 3 per patch, but 2 of them, where's the third one? If it's 3 per patch, but 4 counting the battle pass. Yeah, there's one at level 38 in the battle pass, but it's the paid battle pass. It's like the elixir. So, were they counting, when they said 3, were they counting the one in the battle pass? Or was there a third one? Because it might be, it seemed like, so the new endgame, by the way, and this is what I was sad about at the very end. The new endgame starts on the 25th, which sucks. We have to wait till we have to wait like a freaking too long. Anyways, like 2 weeks into the patch or whatever. One from free. Oh, there was one in the free battle pass? Oh, I didn't even notice that one. Okay. So there is 3 then. So okay, if there is one in the free battle pass, that's good at least, because that means any player at any investment level can get it. No, they said 3 per patch and 1 in the battle pass. Oh, okay. So remains to be seen. Let's be pessimistic though, because it seems like this is an end game incentivization, right? So let's be pessimistic and assume either you have to pay to get these in the paid battle pass, or the 2 per month or 2 per patch, whatever, from whatever the new end game is called. But you have to clear the end game for them, right? Like you have to already have really good builds. You have to have a bunch of characters built, right? These are more difficult to get than elixirs. So, which is fine, I think. So I don't know how valuable. Point is, if there is no free one in the battle pass, there is no sources of getting these from a low investment perspective. They're not valuable on a lower investment level, right? If they're primarily acquirable through this difficulty 4 and 5 endgame. So, you know, if you're a more casual player, hold your horses. Don't get too excited. That's my point. I think the primary intention is this to be a very endgame reward for people who have already like played a game and min-max a ton. This is like, okay, here you go. Now you can get your re-roller. I got it. Gosh, like that Arlecchino feather is probably the best example, by the way, of an artifact that like I think most people would throw this kind of thing away, right? Most people would probably throw this away. So if you didn't throw this kind of artifact away, you're winning. You get to win next patch. So like this is probably the first thing I will target as a reroll for, actually. Crazy. Yeah, artifact loadouts. The fact that they didn't mention it at all in the stream, and the fact that the dev discussion didn't show anything other than like the existing like automatic configurer thing, I refuse to believe that it's true artifact loadouts. I'll believe it when I see it. The fact that they didn't mention it makes me think my hunch is right, where it's technically loadouts, but it's still just using the garbage automatic equipping system, so we can't actually choose the artifacts we want to equip. unless we manage to configure the stupid thing in a way. Like, you will be able to maybe use it still for loadouts, but it's going to be like nightmarishly clunky, where you have to like specifically configure it in a way where it specifically grabs the specific artifacts that you left like free for the thing to automatically grab and glom onto and say, ah, yes, I will equip this to your character. And then you can save that as a loadout. Like, you might be able to kind of use it as a loadout system still. We'll see how it works. I'm not gonna have faith that it's actually gonna be a real loadout system. Anyways. But it might be usable for something at least. But anyways, yeah, so this kind of artifact is ideal. Is there other artifacts I have? Well, there you go. Here's a 4-line, right? So hopefully you kept some like artifacts that many people would call cope, right? Like, I kept this because it's just high enough stat value that I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep that, right? Hopefully you kept artifacts that people would call cope, because it's worth it to reroll them now. And you should only use these on 4 lines, by the way. Please don't use these rerollers on 3-line artifacts unless you're just like, I don't know. Like, okay. I don't know. Like, it really depends, to be clear, because like obviously using it for rerolling a goblet. This is a 3-line goblet, right? Using it to reroll. Obviously, I wouldn't reroll this, but using it to reroll a goblet like this makes sense because the substat combination, like attack percent and crit rate, crit damage for a pyro goblet onset, is rare enough combination that like it's worth it to reroll this kind of one if it rolls poorly, right? But in a generalized sense, I would say you should normally default to only using these things on 4-line pieces. And if it is more expensive to reroll goblets than it is flowers and feathers, almost always you're going to get more value out of these things using them on flowers and feathers, because if you can reroll a flower and feather, that can get you more crit rolls or more just damage rolls in general for less resource costs with this. Like, if it's only 1 versus 2 or 3 for a goblet, right, it's more likely per unit cost you're going to get additional damage value out of it, right, compared to the goblet. Like if you can get an improvement, unless you already have like a perfect flower and feather, right, unless you already have this kind of thing, right, you already have the nearly perfect piece, then you shouldn't consider rerolling your goblet essentially until you first nearly perfect your other pieces. Is kind of the idea. They don't have to be perfect, they have to be like something close. So anyways, but is the 4 stat in 3-liners random? Yes, the 4 stat in 3-liners is random. The 4 stat in 4-liners is random too. You just know what it is when it's level 0. The difference with 4-line pieces is that you get an additional stat of value, right? A 4-line piece gets 5 additional rolls of value. You get 1 additional substat of damage value in a 4-line piece versus a 3-line piece, but 4-line pieces are way more rare than 3-line pieces. But if we can now reroll 4-line pieces, we can guarantee getting additional value from 4 lines more often. 4-line artifacts were already what you kind of needed to min-max builds. Now 4-line artifacts are like the only consideration for min-maxing builds, essentially, with the reroller existing. So, yeah. I think they mean if you reroll, you get another substat. I doubt it does that, but okay, to be clear, yeah. If the freaking reroller things reroll the base substat value, like it completely rerolls it, but with like this, that doesn't make any. It doesn't even make any sense. But like, I don't think that makes sense. My assumption is the substat reroller puts it at whatever its base stats were, right? So this Arlecchino feather, right? I don't know if it started at 3.5 or 3.9, but one of those. Let's say it started at 3.9, right? So my assumption is the reroller would start from the baseline of 6.2 crit damage, 3.9 crit rate, right? And whatever, like 5% attack, right? So like, I don't think it makes sense that it would reroll the baseline substat values, or change it that it was a 3-line or a 4-line. That seems really weird to me and scummy if they do it. But I don't know. So, an HSR changes the base stat number. They do. So like this crit damage roll would change. I mean, and to be clear, if the base roll value of this crit damage roll can change into 7.8 crit damage, in some ways that's a good thing. It can also be a bad thing. It's just RNG. But okay, specifically, does the HSR one turn 3-line artifacts? Sorry, does the HSR reroller turn 4-line artifacts into 3-line artifacts or relics, whatever they're called in Star Rail? Because I haven't played Star Rail since they added this reroller. Like, does it un-4-line your artifacts? If that is, that's a scam and a bullshit and a half thing for them to do. Because that changes what your baseline artifact is. That's an actual bullshit thing. It doesn't? Okay, good. Because changing the baseline subset value is weird, but whatever. But changing the, like, whether or not it was a 3 or 4-line artifact is actual BS if it does. So I would sure hope the Genshin one doesn't. But anyways, I'm just asking for the Star Rail one because it's the one thing that exists from them to judge by, right? So anyways, you can't pick what stat you want the most. Yeah, I'm still not. I guess I don't know what exactly that means. Like, they said you can pick a stat, which, yeah, I assume that the intention with the pick a stat thing is that it ensures at least one additional roll goes into it. But then they also said you can still keep the old one. But if it, like, ensures one additional roll goes, like, if you have a current, that'd be really interesting, right? If the way it works is, like, you choose like crit damage on this one, and it guarantees that, like, at least one of these rolls in the EM or attack percent go into crit damage instead, on top of additional RNG rolls. If that's the case, I don't know. We don't know how that works exactly. We're gonna have to figure that out. We don't know. So, but yeah, and in the case of, like, elixir pieces, what does that do for the elixir pieces, right? The elixir has 2 guaranteed rolls. So does that mean it guarantees that if you use this reroller on an elixir piece, does it guarantee that you do 3 rolls? And if you do it, yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, I guess I should keep this piece now because I don't think I need to. No, never mind. I don't need to keep this piece because if I'm gonna reroll anything, I can reroll this. I can just keep on rerolling this. This was a 4-line. This is the perfect piece. This is the perfect starting stats, right? Well, I don't know exactly what the starting stats were for the base rolls, but this is the perfect piece for, like, my, like, you know, in that it's 4-line, double crit, attack, flat attack. The flat attack kind of matters when I'm truly min-maxing thing. But I would just, like, use a reroller on this until I get the dream piece that rolls, you know, 50 CV kind of thing. Probably not going to happen, but might. I don't know. Anyways, it's much more likely to happen with the reroller available, for sure. So, anyways. Shenhe weapon. Will it change the 4th stat into a 3-liner? I sure as hell hope it wouldn't. I will make an angry video maybe if it does. Well, I don't know if it'd be angry per se. I might make a video about this thing and be like, maybe this is one of my lazy videos this week. Maybe I can make a lazy video this week. They announced an artifact reroller? What was they announced, or maybe no, the Genshin is finally getting an artifact reroller. And I can be like, here's how you should use them. And then I'm gonna have to, like, right away in the video be like, we don't know exactly the nuance of how these work, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Boop. And that's basically just what I yapped with you guys about, but slightly more coherently, hopefully, because I will be less tired. Maybe I should make that video this week instead of a Yai video. Anywho's, Genshin devs listen. Is there new endgame? Yes, there is, but it's not starting until the 25th, which is sad, but oh well. Is the Jeff still yapping with his boyfriend?
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Instead of confining themselves to
Well, I'm gonna ask in the chat.
God,
Mr. Zajeff?
It's falling.
Yo, who's this girl, Chow?
Wait, is
His
it
boyfriend
falling
is
because
there.
of Trump? Yo, let's go. Keep going.
What?
Trump.
Why? Okay. Mr. Zajeff, have you
Columbina?
checked
No, wait. I mean, maybe.
what the
Really?
DPS is
What?
for difficulty 6?
Dude, I hope the US dollar goes to complete shit.
Okay, they're yapping about politics. Great.
Wait, no. Is that good or bad? I'm confused. Wait, no. I want it to be. Okay, whatever.
That's okay. No disrespect. That's Columbina.
Okay, well.
I'm in gaming myself. In game.
Wait, who?
Okay, well, I don't know what they're talking about. Whatever. I'm gonna talk about Genshin things. So, polearm units. Shenna's weapon. Without getting into in depth of the explaining who it's compelling on, not Shenhe. So this is again specifically like I don't think you should really pull Shenna's weapon, but it's a decent stat stick for a few different contexts. And in particular, like from the perspective of like you wanted Skirk's weapon. How much cope do you have to feel if you lose to it? So, it's a good weapon for Escoffier. It's a good weapon for Yeonsan. I'll talk about that in a second. But by good weapon for Yeonsan, I mean that with some asterisks. Good weapon for Emily. I think it's actually kind of okay on Arlecchino, but depends on the team context a little bit. It's 5-star stat stick. Similar story for Xiao, right? Good weapon for Xiangling, 5-star stat stick. Kind of, but like Raiden has stat needs that like I don't recommend. No. Yeonsan's ER requirements are crazy high. Her ER requirements are crazy low in some team contexts, right? And there's value. So Yeonsan is because there's value to building her with a ton of extra attack. If she has a lot higher attack stat, you don't actually need as much movement to keep the full buff up, right? And in particular for like a C5 or C6 Yeonsan, yes, her ER needs are awful, but her ER needs vary wildly in different teams. Now, as someone who is going to potentially wish for Skirk's weapon and doesn't have Shenna's weapon currently, do I think I would actually level up Shenna's weapon to use on Yeonsan for the niche circumstances where that might matter? No. Because I have Fab, and I have a very, very good Fab build, and I like energy more than I like slightly more damage numbers. I think Fab is better than Shenna's weapon for Yeonsan, even if you get more buffing value from Shenna's weapon. You're going to have some really weird specific artifacts with very heavy ER substats, or a very specific team that you're almost always using Eons on in, where you know you don't need the fat particles kind of thing. I want my Eons on to be more versatile. I don't want to have to change your build all the time. So I wouldn't bother, right? But some people very well could, like, because a lot of people tend to like use a particular character in one particular team and barely anywhere else, right? Yeonsan is very likely potentially like that for a lot of people. And if you are that person, it's very possible that you could actually get some value out of Yeonsan on Shenhe's weapon. From the context of Escoffier, hopefully you got Escoffier if you're interested in Skirk. If you didn't, well, supposedly, according to someone in chat earlier, Mihoyo described Skirk as having many team options. That's a lie to most people. It's not a lie to me. Why? Because I like jank teams. Jank teams that utilize mechanics in some form still. But for most people, that is a lie. And most people will feel the difference of, like, you'll be like, you will notice someone that has Escoffier having a much stronger team than so. Anyways, Escoffier OP. I'm of the opinion that, like, to be clear, I think they went a little bit too far of a direction with Skirk's kit, with how exactly they restricted Skirk's kit. I think it was unnecessary to restrict Skirk's kit to the extent they did. For me, it's a weird win in an inverse way, because how restrictive they made Skirk's kit is why Skirk is this wonderful, weird mess of a character for me, where I can control how shite she is. like Like Skirk works in a particular way that gives me a lot of control to make her go from like Dia level to Moeka level, kind of, but not exactly. Like she's more like in between those two. And oh yeah, I forgot chat was gone. Whoa boy is updating after I turned it back on. It's not actually moving that fast for VOD watchers. It's just updating to get back to where it was on before. So anyways, this does not mean Skirk will be unusable without a Escoffier. Just, I don't like. I will say, don't expect to clear the new endgame with Skirk easily. At least it might be doable, but it depends on what other 5 stars you have, because Skirk teams want a bunch of 5 stars in general. Is the long and short of it. Even regardless of if you have a Escoffier, because of the fact that Mihoyo has done a very bad job at releasing compelling Hydros and Cryos, and Skirk really wants you to play a team full of Hydro and Cryos. Like, Skirk is more restrictive than Escoffier is, right? This passive is actually quite flexible for using Escoffier in different teams. Skirk has passives and mechanics that make her more restrictive than Escoffier. I think it's a weird direction they chose. I think it would have made more sense to restrict Escoffiers, you know, rather than restricting Skirk, but it is what it is. And it's a win for me, like I said. I like her weird jankery. That the fact that she's going to wildly vary and that I can specifically choose to have her vary that way. But most people are just going to want to play full Hydro Cryo teams. If you don't have a Escoffier, but you have Farina, because most people do have Farina, you can do like Farina, Skirk, Mika, actually, and like then either Dahlia for Calamity of Eshu enabling, Xingqiu, Candice. Like you can do low investment teams that will perform pretty okay. They might not clear the new endgame super easily, comfortably. We'll see for if you want like the endgame rewards. But yeah. So anyways, point is, if you have a Escoffier for Skirk and you go for Skirk's weapon, which I hope if you're considering going for Skirk's weapon, that's a consideration to do a high investment thing. If you're considering going for Skirk's weapon and you didn't get a Escoffier, you should just save your pulls for a Escoffier rerun, quite frankly. Okay? That's my opinion. I understand that means waiting, right? To make your Skirk do more damage, and the temptation might be getting Skirk's weapon to make Skirk do more damage now. But like, so that's why I'm operating from this context of like, I hope most people that are wishing on the Skirk weapon banner already got Escoffier, right? Because that's the, like, as far as investment into Skirk teams go, you should prioritize Escoffier as a 5-star for Skirk rather than her weapon. So, yeah. But anyways, Shenhe's weapon is a good weapon for Escoffier. From what I recall, for her personal damage, it's like her second best weapon. Her ER needs are relatively high though, with Farina, because you had to burst to heal, and Skirk doesn't generate that much energy. Like her energy needs, you might have seen like, oh no, Escoffier's ER needs in triple cryo is only like 15%. I saw the calcs from Mr. Zajeff. Mr. Zajeff's smart math boy. Except for Mr. Zajeff gave you those numbers from a context of specifically Ayaka Shenhe. And Ayaka and Shenhe do 2 E's per rotation. And there's also ability to funnel particles, but that's not something I think he factored in. Point being, those extra skills from 2 additional cryo characters matter a lot. Skirk teams will only do, even if you're doing triple cryo Skirk, so let's say you're doing the exact same team, but Skirk instead of Ayaka, you're doing Skirk, Farina, Escoffier, Shenhe. You're doing 1 Shenhe E per rotation, and you're doing 1 instant. Skirk only generates particles once in a rotation. It's way less cryo particles. If I recall, Escoffier's ER needs in that context are like 150. It's a lot more. So like, we're talking you're running an ER timepiece on her signature weapon most of the time, but it depends on your substats and whatever. So, point being, it can act for the context of Skirk teams, high investment Skirk teams that already have a Escoffier. The Skirk weapon banner is actually pretty okay. And that might be their, like, that's the generous perspective on their intent with that weapon banner, I would say. I do wish to reiterate that I I really like Shenhe. I enjoy this character. I think it's a dick move that they're actually rerunning her like this. Why? Here, I will illustrate why. Why are we staring at... Oh, is Ziox just mauled? Is he mauling? Is he, like, just having an orgasm over the fact that he can reroll artifacts because all he cares about is Shao artifacts for some reason, even though it's not actually a game, it's just Gamba. Anyway, sorry, I'm insulting Ziox. I shouldn't do that. People like Ziox. I like Ziox too. I can't match his energy, but, you know, it's just, like, anyways. Paimon, don't go away. I'm gonna use Sylvia on my mod as an example, as an extreme example. But we're gonna go to Global Wish Stats. We're gonna look at the last Chronicle banner. Shenhe. Shenhe on this Chronicle banner was pulled more than the 4 stars. 4-star, random 4-star weapons and stuff. Like, and here's the other 5-star characters. Ganyu, Tartaglia, Shao, Baiju, Kajing. Shenhe's all the way over here. A lot of people were actually waiting. Not that this is an insane number, to be clear. This is like a total of 20,000 pulls for Shenhe. Point being, a lot of people specifically were waiting for Shenhe to rerun. And Mihoyo was like, oh, we're so nice. We've chosen to acknowledge that we were wrong in saying we wouldn't rerun characters on Chronicle banner unless they had at least 2 banners already. We're wrong. That was dumb of us. We're going to rerun Shenhe on the Chronicle banner for you because we're so generous. This is not what they actually use. This is me characterizing them. We're so generous. We admit we're wrong. We're going to rerun Shenhe here. And everyone took that as, oh, okay, well, this is our opportunity to get Shenhe. Well, not my preference that we rerun a Chronicle banner, because, like, Chronicle banner doesn't carry over a guarantee. Chronicle banner also doesn't have capturing radiance. So the wish value is inherently actually, your average amount of 5 stars you get per wish is lower on Chronicle banner. The theoretical upside is that you can lose your 50-50 to a compelling unit. But, like, that just depends on you and whether or not Tartaglia or Shao or Chi-Chi or Ganyu or Kaching or Baiju is a compelling unit to lose to over the normal standard pool when losing a 50-50 if you're wishing for Shenhe, right? Point being, capturing radiance existing, 4 stars on banner being relevant existing. I'm of the opinion, and I think most people are of the opinion, probably, that the normal banners are far more valuable to wish for characters than Chronicle banner, particularly with the fact that there's no guarantee carryover, yada yada, blah blah blah. I think it's a real dick move to run this. This was not that long ago, right? This was in the end of January into February. It lasted until February 10th. This was like, and Shenhe's going to be here in 10 days, guys. So this was 4 months, like a little over 4 months. Like, they knew they were doing this. They knew they were releasing Escoffier, a unit that revitalized Shenhe's relevance, like on a more meta level. And they knew that Shenhe would become part of the conversation a little bit more. They knew that they were going to make Skirk a cryo unit. They knew what they were doing. There was no reality where they're just like, they went from not having any idea what they were doing with characters and banners for the next few months. They knew. And they chose to do this. They chose to put Shenhe on here to leech money from people who are like, oh, this is Shenhe's rerun. I should get her on this banner. That's what I did. I got Shenhe on my main account on this banner. And I lost to Chi-Chi. I would have much rather lost a 50-50 on the normal banner, where it would have counted towards capturing radiance, right? And then on Polearms only, yeah, on Polearms only, I would have much rather wished on like, because on Polearms only, I now have Baiju and Ganyu on Polearms only because I wanted Shenhe constellations, and I got screwed over. And like, I lost the 50-50 twice. And again, it could have been capture radiance. Like, it's not that big a deal. You, it is a big deal. You don't understand how impactful tracking capture radiance is and how good it is for letting you use wishes properly. It's a really big deal for efficiently using wishes, actually. So, like, it's actually an extreme dick move for them to do this. It's not bad that they're rerunning characters. It's a dick move that they knew what they were doing with cryo units. And then they chose to do this with said only whales ever. I didn't whale. Do you want to get banned? I'm coding. But anyways, like, I'm tempted to time you out, but like, I didn't whale. I had 45,000 Primo Gems when this banner came around on polearms only, because they don't release that many freaking polearm units. And I liked the team with Shenhe, so I chose to go for Shenhe dupes because I had the Primo Gems. Like, they basically scammed anyone that was saving Primo Gems at the time that wanted Shenhe. That's what they did. And the most extreme example of this is my mod Sylveon, where she's such a Shenhe enthusiast that, and again, not saying this made sense. We're not saying this made sense. But this is like something that she planned for. Sylveon saved up a ton of Primo Gems. This included like money Primo Gems that she bought. I don't know exactly what the split was. I'm sure she doesn't even know exactly what the split was. But a lot of Primo Gems she saved up to get C6 Shenhe and also copies of the weapon. And remember, weapons are also more expensive, significantly more expensive on this banner compared to on the normal banner, because it's now 100. It's now it's 130 pity, about 130 wishes versus about 150 wishes. Is like kind of the worst case scenario ish. The average is lower than that for both of them, but yeah. Anyways, like, point being, Sylveon went for C6 Shenhe on this banner. She had a guarantee even that she carried over, because remember Mihoyo said, we will not rerun characters on Chronicle banner that have not had multiple banners already, that have not had 2 rerun banners. That was the rule for Chronicle banner. And my point with this is Mihoyo's word means all when it comes to banners. Because like, what I really dislike was when I start arguing with people about like the gacha BS, and people being like, oh, people will like, to counter something I'm saying, will say like, oh, Mihoyo says this, or they're held to like legal accountability. What country? Cite the law. Like, this was 100% planned. This was way too close together. They purposely chose to screw over people. A very minor amount of people, because they could extract a little bit of additional money. And then now that they see another opportunity to make money from Shenhe, they're rerunning Shenhe again. And like, Sylveon saved a 50-50 for a long time on the assumption that they weren't going to rerun Shenhe on Chronicle banner. She knew Chronicle banner existed, but the assumption was Shenhe was not going to rerun a Chronicle banner, so Sylveon chose to skip characters for saving a guarantee to get Shenhe on a limited banner. And at this point, I'm pretty sure Sylveon would have preferred to use it either on another character, right? And which I think you eventually did, because the Chronicle banner thing happened. Or you would have even potentially preferred to carry that guarantee all the way over just a few months more. Like, because Sylveon was already waiting a freaking year for this banner, or more than a year, whatever. I think she could have waited. I think most people would have said, yeah, they could have waited 4 more months. I could have waited 4 more months for my C1 and C2 Shenhe on this account. If I didn't go for the, like, whatever. Anyways, my point is like, I didn't show you that, but my point is, like, it's a dick move. And let's not like pretend they didn't do that intentionally, because they are. Like, it's a real dick move to not stand by their word, so we can't even like plan around things. Because that's what we need, to be able to plan around some amount of like consistency. But if they're just gonna like do things that intentionally dick people over, it's just like so anyways, and capturing radiance like really changes the formula. Like, if you think it doesn't, you don't understand how capturing radiance works exactly. And I don't know, like, to be clear, no one 100% understands how capturing radiance works other than Mahoyo. I don't mean you literally know the exact ins and outs, but I mean you don't understand how valuable it is to have a system that prevents you from losing 50, like prevents you from having infinite 50-50 loss streaks, and how just the existence of this most simple level of, let's ignore the complicated parts of capturing radiance, and just if you lose 3 50-50s, your next one is guaranteed. AKA you can have 2 guarantees in a row like I had on my main account recently, and you can plan around that to know you can get certain numbers of characters. You can get certain constellations with certain numbers of wishes, and like, it's a really powerful tool, especially when you're tracking things. It functionally makes it way easier to get specific characters and plan things over time. And even if you don't plan things over time, it still inherently makes it better to wish on this banner than it does to wish on this banner, as far as like how many 5 stars do you get per wish compared to this banner. So anyways, like it's just good for everyone. There's some people that think capturing radiance is only good for whales. You're just wrong. It's actually better for non-whales, but you know, anyways, or technically it's equivalently better. It's just, it gives you more 5 stars, functionally. It gives you more 5 stars. The reason I say it's better for non-whales is because for whales, all it does is very, like, we're talking like say, take a Giga Whale context. So someone who's just C6ing every character, whatever, right? All it did for them is like minorly reduce the price. Like they went from, oh, they have to pay an average of $1,000 or whatever per character. Now they get to pay an average of $950 per character. But the whales don't give a flying about capturing radiance, other than it's a new animation to get their jizz off of. Like I haven't gotten a single capture radiance. That's not a bad thing. Just because you haven't seen a capture radiance, like you haven't seen capturing radiance because you've won 50-50s. Like, so like, that's a good thing. It's actually a good thing if you haven't seen capturing radiance. It means you've had like above average or average luck. Anyways, if you want a normal banner 50-50 around the time of Chronicle, then capturing radiance was irrelevant to you at the moment. Capturing radiance is something that collectively over time makes your wishes more valuable. It is not whatever. I'm so sick of like trying to get people to understand basic statistics things, but just whatever. And like basic statistics things and how you can use stats to your own advantage is my point, right? And this banner offers no such thing. So, anywho's, you're full on in the whims of bullshittery of RNG, more than you are on the normal banner. So there are less factors within your control. Just because just because it's hard to see on an individual instance because it has an effect over larger numbers than just one individual polling session for you, does not mean it does not have an effect. It just means you're failing to notice it. And that's fine because it's implemented in a way that is meant to give you some benefit even if you fail to notice it. Anyways, so for the Chronicle banner, to be clear, characters were put on there because they're not supposed to be rerun again. Characters are put on there because they want to rerun characters that don't make them much money. But they saw an opportunity with Shenhe to make some money by putting her on Chronicle banner. But I don't think... I think the reason they reran Shenhe when they did is because there was a lot of people that wanted it. So they're like, okay, we should probably listen to our players for once and rerun the character. Like, that at a baseline is good. But then they didn't rerun her on a dedicated banner. So they didn't actually, like, listen in good faith to the player base. Because, like, what the player base would have actually benefited from the most is a normal rerun for Shenhe. and that's what most people were expecting. So I would say them rerunning Shenhe on Chronicle Banner was a bad faith rerun, essentially. Like it goes against the community's actual interests. So anyways, Shenhe was put on there though because they made Shenhe a really niche character, so she wasn't gonna make that much money, and they didn't want to rerun a character that's not gonna make them money. They'd rather rerun characters that are gonna make them more money, right? Or characters that are newer, who haven't gotten a rerun yet, kind of thing. Like it's just a problem of it's harder and harder for them to rerun characters as they release more and more characters, right? It's a logistics problem. So, anywho's, yes, the baseline is just capturing radiance gives you more 5 stars. It's more probability, but the simplest level is you get more 5 stars. You just get more 5 stars. The more 5 stars specifically that are the featured banner 5 stars, the ones you want. So, anyways, it's really easy to see in specific instances when you're lost to either. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. GR. I'm essentially talking about exactly what you're saying. GR. That like when you utilize it, knowing it exists, that's at its strongest. But anyways, so yeah, Chronicle Banner is these units don't make money, but we will rerun them anyways for the people that want them. This is them rerunning Yai, right? This is them rerunning Ito. And I'm of the opinion, right? If they're going to acknowledge that, because they're basically just putting these units on these banners because they're acknowledging that they're lower value units. And like, yeah, quite frankly, Kazuha has not held up that well. He's still very useful. I like him. But I've had to use him a lot less this last year, I'll tell you that. He's more of a skippable unit than he ever has been, and he was considered a unit that people needed to have what many people used to say, right? It's like you should have Kazuha on your account. If you don't, you're like grieving your account for team options or whatever. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that one, either buff them exactly. If they're gonna make these characters cost the same as newer characters, but be worse value than newer characters, and also functionally cost more because of capturing radiance, then yeah, they should buff them, or make them cheaper, right? That's I think the easiest solution, because quite frankly, it's very not hard to still get use out of Yai. Like, as much as like anyone yaps about power creep in Genshin, it's actually not that much of a problem compared to some other games. Like it's really not that hard to get use out of Yai if you want to get use out of Yai. And the same for pretty much any of these characters. Different ones will have different difficulties levels in different contexts, to be clear, because of the way the game's structure and endgame combat is designed, of course, to incentivize specific elements and specific kinds of characters and whatever, right? But the point is, right, they don't actually have to buff Yai, but if they're going to acknowledge that these are the lower value characters, then lower the cost of acquisition. That's my opinion. Like pity on Chronicle Banner should be 60 pity, for example, instead of like soft pity. Instead of 75 should be 60, so that the average cost drops by like 30 wishes, right? So, anyways, I'm not against the potential for buffs, but anyways, other codes, yeah, I think I actually have them saved. I'll paste them. Oh, frick me. I didn't want to paste them like that. Okay, ignore that. Can I format these better? Here, I'll put spaces in them. That's all I'm going to do. There we go.
Peace and good health should be enjoyed by all.
There's the codes.
If I can provide anyone with a life such as this.
What about, so, the new endgame structure? I mean, I'm gonna hold any meaningful commentary on the end game until I actually play it. My current feeling is that I will like the co-op mode far more than the single player mode. And the reason being is because its general structure is relatively similar to the way they have run certain events in the past, which is with special bosses that have special mechanics that you have to get through, and a tanky HP pool. So, like, aka quite, like not what I get value out of in Genshin, which is playing around with the different ways that characters work together to still clear the content. Like, this is why I enjoy Abyss, because Abyss is, generally speaking, balanced in a way. It's become less so this last year, but generally speaking, balanced in a way that I have some decent flexibility for using teams that, like, you know, Mihoyo is not, like, Mihoyo wants you to use a Scofier, for example, for the first side of the current Abyss. But I can use DPS Lanyan just fine, right? Very easily. And that's a good thing. Will I be able to use DPS Lanyan in the new endgame content? That will very much depend on the enemy. Like, the DPS threshold will be higher at a baseline, which already is a potential problem, because that just eliminates a lot of potential teams. And then you have the very specific enemy mechanics. The best example of this is the Tulpa. The Tulpa, I believe, is one of the first bosses in this new endgame, and is not normal Tulpa, it's event Tulpa that has a shield. A shield that you have to get through, and then you have to kill the Tulpa in 120 seconds. And they didn't confirm this in the live stream, but we were told in beta, that from the beta, I believe, that you start with 0 energy too. So, like, I really like the Tulpa in Abyss. You want to know what the one time I didn't like the Tulpa was? When I had to fight the event Tulpa that had a shield. Because it suddenly made team options and the enjoyment of fighting the Tulpa really not fun, because it became you destroy this shield before the Tulpa, like, powers up, or you get effed. Right? So, yup. Point being, it's going to incentivize, like, this is a form of endgame that will incent, like, for what it's worth, for people that really care about, like, primarily playing the strongest teams. This is a form of endgame that will heavily incentivize playing the strongest teams. And specifically, you're going to want 3 of really strong teams to clear the full difficulty. So, and the dire difficulty might be straight impossible without whale level investment. I have no idea. That's why I was checking to see if Zajef was doing things. But he seemed to still be distracted by, you know, his boyfriend. ZZ stream when I feel like it. I did the Discord stream before, but I don't know. ZZZ is usually just, you know, tacked onto the end of whatever Genshin streams, if in case you weren't aware. I just usually don't do dedicated Zenless streams because I don't usually have that much to do. Like, that's around a specific thing in Zenless. But I don't know. I do play Zenless all the time randomly at the end of streams, so yeah. Having a whale friend is going to be needed. Supposedly you can't use co-op for the rewards for numbers 4, 4, and 5. If you want the artifact reroller thing, it's single player only. And I don't know, it's going to be a hot take, I know, but I think that's fine. I think it's fine if the rewards are single player only. But the co-op is there because you want to have fun with co-op. I'm not gonna poo-poo them for locking the rewards behind single target when it's a reward, when it's intended to be a reward for a high investment thing anyways, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, you can add the characters whales use. I don't know. I don't know exactly how the supposed adding characters things work. I haven't. That sounds like the Imaginarium Theater functioning, and until someone mentioned that in my chat, I did not hear literally one mention of that beforehand. But that's probably because I was mostly interacting with people who were mostly talking about it from an actual co-op context. I really don't think I'm going to care about the single target or the single player experience of this. I'll clear it on my account and I'll be like, cool. And then I will actually try to have fun with it in co-op. So, yeah. Anyways. Lock Primos behind single player one? I don't know. Wait and see until when it comes out, I guess. Or Mihoyo makes a post about it with more details. Whatever. So. Anyways. Moika rerun with Emily. It's kind of weird. It does make... So when Emily reruns, I'm probably going to make a video being like, it's hard for me to recommend Emily in the current state of the game if you don't get her signature weapon. It's not that she's dysfunctional, and I'll like show that she's functional in some teams. Like basically, there's some teams where it doesn't make a difference at all. Not at all, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. But there's some teams where like, if you want to truly get full value out of Emily, like so much of what I like about the character and some of the shenanigans I like to do with her and places where she can actually be compelling where you might not expect her to be compelling, actually kind of have gameplay affected changes that are a result of a signature weapon. So the Moika Emily being rerun together being their weapon banner and Moika's weapon being a pretty good generic weapon, like, yeah. So, anyways. You misunderstood. I mean, you misunderstood because that's the understanding that I was told from someone in chat, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I don't know. What they call it? Getting Emily and her weapon, but you don't have Kanich. I never. Sorry, I have Kanich technically. I have played Kanich and Emily together, but I very rarely play Kanich, and I play Emily all the time. So I don't know. I think the true value. I think Emily's true niche, is overburn teams, and as a weird alternative to Nahida in some contexts too. Emily, you're fine if you're at a deathmatch. Yeah, you're fine, but that's not the point. My point is not that the character won't be usable without her signature weapon. Like, obviously she's usable. She's fine. The point is that there is teams, particularly with Farina, that I can showcase that, like, will be extremely clunky to, like, the level of I wouldn't really recommend this in the same way if you don't have her signature weapon. Right? So anyways, point being, at least that being a good weapon banner makes it easier to go for that, is my point. Does that mean you need to go for Emily's weapon? No. Emily is Emily does most of what Emily does without her signature weapon, right? So let's overburn Pyro plus Electro. So here, I'll go back to my main account. Did I finish using? I didn't actually. Sorry. Let's go use my resin. So like I'm playing Chlorinde. You could do this with other Electros. On this account, I do this with Sino, Toma, Emily. So the Pyro unit, so that you have a little bit of burning happening. Electro unit, you can get aggravates, you can get overloads. You keep up enough burning to keep up Emily damage. And by the way, overburn comps, in my experience, I've only done limited testing to be clear, and there still is gameplay changes that can happen. Like I can do faster rotations with my Chlorinde team because of the fact that I have Emily's signature weapon. But anyways, so I'm playing Chlorinde, Chilonin, Emily, Moika, for example. And Pyro Traveler, I've tested, works in place of Moika. It just extends rotations. But anyways, I'm going to play Zenless today. No, I need to go to sleep. It's 9 a.m. and I haven't slept since yesterday. Like I woke up yesterday at 11 a.m. or noon, which is my normal waking up time, to be clear. So, you know, I'm going on close to 24 hours without sleep here. So, like, I'm not going to Zenless. I wouldn't get much enjoyment out of Zenlessing right now. So anyways, Not getting sleep give you any buff? Yeah. It makes your thoughts so incoherent that if anyone yells at you for saying something stupid, you can just say you had no sleep. You have an excuse. That's a joke, to be clear. I feel I am plenty coherent enough to stand by most of what I'm saying, right? But if I flub up some words or whatever, or am struggling to communicate an idea, it's a contributing factor, right? So, anyways, other than banners, what is there to talk about with the patch? Dane's Life patch. Yeah, oh yeah, they showed the Dane's Life animation. That's good. I really like that. Because I think it means that I think it means that Dane's Life is going to become a real character, presumably within the next year. That's my bet. In fact, I'd even be willing to bet there's a high chance of him becoming a playable character before the end of the year, like in 2025. But that could easily be wrong. So yeah. Wow, Dane's Life might be real. On a story level, though, I look forward to the story next patch. I feel like it might be possible that next patch is like the best preview we get for what the node cry structure is going to be like, maybe. Well, not really. We're not going to get the structure of it. We're just going to get... Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just going to be a Dane's Life quest. So it'll probably be hit or miss. That's my experience with Dane's Life quests thus far. So surprised Mulan is not getting a rerun. It'll probably be next patch. You know what's funny? Again, so they put Shenhe. They reran Shenhe as layperson bait because, oh, I know what Shenhe is. Shenhe is the cryo buffer. Skirk is cryo buffer. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of guides that will show Shenhe as, yes, one of the better potential last slot being lowest priority, last slot teammates for Skirk, and they'll be tempted to pull for Shenhe. But you want to know who's a better teammate for the last slot of a Skirk team than Shenhe? Mualani. Mualani on 4-piece scroll on Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers is better. So it's like part of my point in that like Shenhe's kind of there to just bait more uninformed people. Like, to be clear, if you like Shenhe, you just want to get Shenhe because you want to get Shenhe. Like, don't let me stop you. I'm just saying, don't get baited pulling for Shenhe just because she's there with a cryo DPS, right? That's the ultimate point. She is in the category of characters that are like compelling last slot characters, and that includes Sitlali, Mualani. So like the Skirk's ideal team is Frina Escoffier at a baseline. So you have flexibility in the last slot. This is what most people will end up playing for her highest damage teams. So you have Shenhe as an option. You have Mona C4 or Mona C0 to be clear, but Mona C4. Mona C4 is theoretically better than any of the C0 limited 5 stars, because it gives a crit buff that kind of matters. You got to build around it, but I don't know, if you happen to have a Mona C4, it's a consideration. Like if you have a Mona C4, there's probably zero reason to pull Shenhe specifically for Skirk. But if you want a Shenhe for other reasons, it's fine, right? Yeah, no, for Ayaka, she's still very valuable. The reason is because what they did is, what Shenhe is not just a cryo buffer. She is specifically a cryo buffer that is at her ideal, and by ideal, basically where she primarily shines, as a quick swap cryo buffer. By quick swap, I mean just teams that are freeform, that let you swap to Shenhe to do multiple skills. So you can refresh her buff, get additional buffing value from her, reduce energy needs too, yada yada. So, anyways, Charlotte good in last slot. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say good either necessarily, but Charlotte. The problem with Charlotte is like, even Charlotte with triple cryo and an Escoffier team is might be a bit rough to get Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers going on her, but it should be more doable. So Charlotte is somewhat compelling just because she's a catalyst unit. But I think Mika, from my understanding, is kind of better still. Because attack speed does do something for Skirk, but anyways. Dahlia is okay as the last slot. Not like better he's not better than the 5-star. So anyway, sorry. You have Silali. Silali has minor problems, but Catalyst plus she is a shield unit. So she's Catalyst, so she can give Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. She can use Scroll, but getting Scroll buff consistently in because of rotation order being restricted because of Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers is actually kind of awkward. So like you might not even care about 4-piece Scroll and Silali in these teams at all. It depends on if you have Silali signature weapon, it's valuable. You probably would do it, but anyways. TDDS buff though, just TDDS buff alone, and then Silali providing a shield, which enables Calamity of Eshu for Skirk, is enough that Silali is like one of the best options. And if you can rotate in a way that gets Scroll buff working, or you're not using Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, then just giving cryo damage bonus, right, and hydro damage bonus. So, oh, and from my calcs, C1 Silali, if you happen to have it, or you were considering it for some reason because you saw my stupid video like for C1 Silali with Kachina. This is very simple calcs, to be clear. Go check other people that probably do more in-depth calcs than I do. But C4 Mona is theoretically better than any C0 limited 5-star, and C1 Silali is better than C1. Okay, actually, okay. The calcs I did was C1 Silali with their signature weapon, so that's 2 additional 5-stars. So anyways, C1 Silali with signature weapon was definitely better than C4 Mona, was my estimation. But anyways, like it took DPS like to 125k by my estimate, up from like 115k ish with Mona, but depends on assumptions a little bit, yada yada, blah 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 blah. That was assumptions based on the build I had on my account, which is a fairly high investment Silali build that, whatever. Anyways, point is C1 Silali makes Silali give a flat buff to Skirk that is valuable enough to push you towards Silali over any other option, is all I'm saying. And then you have Mualani's 4-piece Scroll, TDDS. It's way easier to trigger 4-piece Scroll with Mualani in a rotation with her on TDDS than it is on Silali. You don't have Eshu, so then you're talking like Finale of the Deep on Skirk, or another whatever stat stick 5-star weapon. And then you have Shenhe, and you have Mona. So, yeah. Like Shenhe's like these are all very similar at the end of the day for like C0 limited 5-stars. Like they're similar enough that like the experience in like clearing Abyss is not gonna wildly vary. These are all like 110k DPS teams with like minor differences in how exactly they play. I'm of the opinion that I think as far as C0 5-stars go, the best one is Mualani, because of the fact that Mualani offers some front-loaded damage value on demand with her burst. And her normal attacks technically, but mostly her burst. That the other units don't provide. And it's very easy to build her for... You can build her for quite meaningful damage on 4-piece Scroll and Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. So, yeah. Anyways. Shenhe is just like, I don't know. Shenhe's in a weird spot, right? Where like, even with Escoffier making her a lot stronger, if you're playing her with an on-fielder that doesn't let you swap out consistently, she's not that incredible, right? Like, you really want to be able to do 2 E's per rotation on Shenhe. So, yeah. I think Layla works with Skirk. Yeah, it should be okay. She enables Calamity of Eshu. So, the main context in which you might consider Layla with Skirk is probably... So, like, generally speaking, Dahlia would be better than Layla at a baseline, right? And Dahlia was basically made to be a low investment Skirk teammate. So, we're talking, right, let's say if you have Farina Escoffier, you could put Dahlia in the last slot. But let's say you're doing maybe... what's the context where you might choose Layla over... I don't know, is there a context where you choose Layla over Dahlia? I don't know if there is, unfortunately. I guess it's a context where you care about the cryo particles a lot more. So, if you care about cryo particles a lot more than the hydro particles, then, yeah, you can do something like Tenacity Layla. So maybe something like Skirk, Escoffier, Layla, Xingqiu, right? Like some kind of lower investment Skirk team. Realistically, I don't think I would level Layla. Like, if you're having to level a 4-star character for Skirk, Dahlia is probably the one to level, realistically. He's not incredible, but he's pretty okay. But yeah, the first thing to decide for Skirk is whether or not you care about Calamity of Eshu. Because, do I have it on this account? Oh, I need to go to bed. I'm yawning something fierce. Where is it? I don't think I have it. Yeah. I either throw it away for a funny, or I didn't do the event. Oh, no, I do have it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so double the blue numbers, right? So 40% charge and attack bonus and 16% crit rate. So when protected by a shield, this is 565 base attack, 27.6 attack. At level 90. This is like Miss Splitter is barely better than this weapon, if this weapon works on Skirk. So if you have a shield in the team, right? And Miss Splitter is like a pretty good stat stick weapon. Like, Skirk can fully enable the passive. Like Miss Splitter is really good, but this is basically almost as good as Miss Splitter. This is a very, very good weapon for Skirk. So the first thing you need to decide for Skirk, I think, is whether or not you're planning on using this weapon. Because if you are, then now you need to consider your teams to always have a shielder. And your options for that are Dahlia. Your options for that are Layla. Your options for that are Seat Lolly. Anyone else I'm missing? I think that might be all. Well, outside of non-freeze teams, to be clear. Non-freeze teams, your options open up quite a lot. But non-freeze teams will be not ideal for most people. So, that Mr. Zajeff? No, that was someone else. I had messaged Mr. Zajeff about the DPS check. But, anyways. Blah, blah, blah. Diona. Ah, yeah. Diona. Not the most relevant unit, considering, various factors, but not worthless. She generates a meaningful amount of cryo particles, so maybe just on energy value, Diona's pretty okay. I think I'd rather use Layla, though. So I think Layla's shield is stronger. So, from the... Well, okay. I was assuming a Escoffier as a healer anyway, so I guess you don't really need to worry about a strong shield, but I don't know. Anyways. I would probably use Layla over Diona, personally. I also think it's much more doable to get Layla to deal some decent damage in a Escoffier team context. Which is probably I think that's the most interesting reason, actually, to choose Layla in an Escoffier team. Is because you just like Layla and you already have if you have a hyper invested Layla, right? Layla has HP scaling and damage on her burst. I don't remember how many times this hits. This is level 4 to be clear, right? Let's see if there's information on Amber. Okay, I saw the Jest stream up, and he's doing calculation for the artifact thingy, which is valuable, but I also feel like these specific numbers are not quite necessary for the how it's valuable, to be clear. It's good that someone's doing that, but it's just like, I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't think you need those specific numbers breakdowns for like the chances of getting a particular stat combination to decide what you actually do. Because I think you decide what to do based on what actually has an effect in game or what your current goal is, not what necessarily is well, I don't know. It depends. It depends if you have a lot of, it depends on a lot of things. So anyways, point is, go check out Zajeff's content if you want to see a number breakdown for the artifact thinger. Layla. Bap. Level 13. So fully invested Layla deals 9.9% HP per slug. And her shield, to be clear, is HP scaling too, right? So this would be like a hybrid Layla. You'd want to build some crit on her, but you know, HP goblet. Well, maybe. Well, yeah, no, I think you can do HP goblet probably. Probably be fine. HP goblet. Because let's just take Layla as like a hyper invested Layla in the ideal team, anyways. So Scofier, Farina, Layla last slot. With a hyper invested Layla, you're getting a bunch of damage on Farina. HP goblet should be fine. You don't necessarily need to do it. You could do cryo goblet too, to be clear. But anyways, it just depends if you care about more shield durability or not. Shield strength increases. Damage dealt by shooting stars fired by... That's her skill, right? Yeah, that's her skill. So her skill also does some HP scaling damage. Technically, they're dual scaling. They're doing attack scaling and HP scaling with her passive. Yeah, her shield cooldown is low, but you're restricted by times of... Yeah, it's low, but you're it doesn't matter. It's a 12-second uptime, so like you're gonna have some downtime where you might take damage, but it's fine because you have a scope. If you have a Scopy in the team, if you don't, you might need to make sure you dodge before you switch to Layla. Layla's kit is like okay, so she has problems in that like you ideally want to use her skill and then you use her skill and then use other characters' skills after using her skill, but you can't do that normally if you want to maintain shield uptime, so it's goofy. Anyways, I don't know exactly when you use a Layla skill because of that awkwardness. I'm just trying to look at the damage level. Anyways, Starlight slug damage does not give me the frequency of hits. Okay. This is not what I needed either. Okay. Well, I don't know. Will I try Woo when lots of things change? No. Sorry. To be clear, if it becomes a completely different game, maybe. But I don't know. I think there's some fundamental game design aspects. Like, not even gacha. The gacha is what broke me with Woo, to be clear. I strongly feel that Woo would be a better game if it wasn't a gacha. Because I think some of the fundamental things that turned me away from it wouldn't have been the way they are if it weren't a gacha, and would have been better implemented ideas if it weren't a gacha. I don't think I'm going to come back to it at any time soon, because it's still a gacha. I don't need another gacha to play, and it hasn't fundamentally changed anything. They've just improved. And that's fine. That's good. I'm glad people enjoy it. I'm glad Genshin is a competitor. So, I don't know. Anyways. I think it has fundamental problems with some of its gameplay design that I didn't, not I enjoyed initially, but the more I played, the less I enjoyed the game. Is all I can keep it simple as. So no, I am not planning to play Wuwa any more than I already did. So anyways, I have no idea how many times this hits. Sorry. I'm going to get... Oh, wait. Oh, well. With Starlit Luck hits, it will generate 1 night star for nearby curtains of slumber. Oh, no, that's her skill. Okay. Each curtain of slumber can gain 1 night star this way every 0.5 seconds. Okay, I don't know. I haven't seen anyone in chat say what how often Layla hits with her burst, but theoretically Layla could do some okay damage, actually, is my point. Does that mean you should hyper invest into Layla for Skirk? No. This is just like she will be a compelling teammate, right? So, you know. Anyways, yep. All the 5 stars are going to be better than any 4-star option, essentially. Is basically where Skirk is at for her ideal teams. For what it's worth, on my casual account, I think I am going to try to get Skirk, because I think it'd be interesting from a context of, again, like the casual account being like, hey, simulate the casual experience of casual players just like to pull for characters that are flashy, ooh, right? So a casual player will just pull for Skirk, you know, and then do what they can with the characters they have. And so on that account, I don't have Farina. I do not have Escoffier. So my team choice is basically probably... I do have Ashu. Yay. It's probably like Dahlia, Xingqiu, and then either Rosaria or Kaya is the last slot. And you know what? I'm relatively confident that Skirk will be completely usable in that team. And I think I will be happy with how she performs there for the investment level that team is at, right? For what it's worth. Do I think she will be clearing the new endgame with that team with ease? Almost assuredly not, from my understanding. But, yeah. I don't know. Anyways, I should probably go to sleep. I've been yapping too long and I gotta do, like, work on videos. I think I had enough of a yap. Well, I'm sure I'll yap more about these things, to be clear, in future streams. But I need to sleep. So, anyways, I'm looking forward, though, to the next patch. I think it should be a fun one. Story should be good. And I'm looking forward to Skirk. And I know a lot of people are disappointed with how restrictive she is. Like I said, I think I might be wrong. I don't know. I'm very unsure about her at the end of the day. I think I'm going to like her. The things that I think why I might end up disliking her more than I expect, is if her playstyle ends up being too boring. Because, like, she's a normal attacker, but she's not a normal attacker like Arlecchino that has nuance to how you do her ability. She's just a normal attacker that you, like, spam her normal attacks, which is, like, that's her gameplay loop, which is really boring. But she has nuance with, like, her burst playstyle that I think will be interesting to me. But if I fail to find teams that I like to make use of that over existing teams, then, you know. So the point being, there's a couple, like, there's unknown factors that I don't know that I will for sure like Skirk as much as I think I will. It's her weird modality and a level of control I have to change how well she performs that I kind of like. So, anyways, good night, good morning, have a good rest. Yeah, thank you. Anywho's, so point being, look forward to some kind of Skirk video. Not necessarily a bunch of Skirk videos, but just some kind of Skirk video. I'm like 90% certain, by the way, I'm no longer going to go for C1. I am considering her weapon still, mostly, but the weapon is, again, mostly, honestly, like, the weapon probably might become a Bennett weapon. Like, I think I'm fine using Skirk on not her signature weapon, other than maybe in certain team contexts. I don't know. Like, I have Jade Cutter. I have other stat stick 5-star weapons for her. I have Eshu. Like, I don't know. But I kind of only want her weapon for DPS, Bennett. In the co-op of the new endgame. So... But the drip, though? Have you seen what Finale of the Deep looks like? It looks... Like, if someone showed you... Look, I could easily gaslight people into thinking that Finale of the Deep is their signature weapon. Okay? Just saying. Like, most people wouldn't know better. If they never saw Skirk's weapon beforehand, and I showed them what Finale of the Deep looks like equipped on her, they'd be like, ah, yeah, that's a nice looking, that's like a nice, like, I'm surprised they didn't make it look weird and anime flashy, but I kind of like it. I like that this weapon is her signature weapon. Oh wait, that's a 4-star? You tricked me. Anyways. What's Finale of the Deep again? It's the Fontaine craftable sword. It's her universal free-to-play accessible weapon. So, and it's quite good on her. And it looks great on her. So, I don't know. Point being, I don't really... Like, I understand the desire to pull, like, use weapons that look nice. I get it. I maintain that you shouldn't stress that much about it, because you're letting the gacha formula... You're letting them manipulate you. Because if they didn't shove this in your face constantly... Every time your character goes idle and shove the weapon in your face to scream at you for not having the drip weapon, you wouldn't actually care, right? You wouldn't care anywhere near as much. But, regardless of that, I'm of the opinion that drip doesn't matter when there's a really good drip option available that isn't the 5-star weapon. I don't know. I just dislike, right? I dislike that people are like, oh, get Arlecchino weapon for the drip when White Tassel exists. Because as far as drip weapons go, I think White Tassel is the more respectable choice. As far as drip weapons go for Skirk, I think if you care about drip weapons for Skirk, okay, use the free-to-play weapon. It's the more respectable choice. Anyways. So, yeah. That's my vibe. But just be smart with your pulls. Know what you're wasting if you're doing something silly, like pulling a weapon for drip. White Tassel is their signature. What do you mean? Yeah, I was talking about Crimson Moon Semblance. That's a 3-star. No, sorry, it's a 2-star weapon. I don't know why it looks like a big fancy scythe, but it's like it's so garbage. It's like I can't even finish this joke properly because my brain isn't in it. But anyways. Yeah, no, White Tassel is their signature weapon. You're right. Anyways. Yes, GR, you were correct. The reason you are correct is because Moeka didn't get her signature weapon until after that fight. Or whatever. Like she got her weapon during that fight, or whatever. It was part of the fight. Anyways, good night. Good day. Bye.